economy. And on this one, we will bring you in, Mr. Wleh, to be the one to start. On the economy, our general question is the CDC cleaning the economic mess that we have on our hands, or is the CDC creating more mess?
Yeah, okay. I don't know. I will not borrow your word of mess or so. You know, I would say in terms of the economy right now, we are having a very challenging economic situation in Liberia. As to what the CDC is doing right now to get things better, I can tell you the CDC is doing so much to turn things around. Because when we talk about the economy, what most people don't understand is when they hear economy, they think the economy is something like somebody will just come tomorrow and you have investors coming, you start to build factories and all of those things. But the reality remains, one, I can tell you as somebody that is working in the automation sector, even globally, there are a lot of industrial jobs and stuff like that that are not just easily possible in certain areas for a lot of reasons. For example, like in the case of Liberia being a very small country, less populated and stuff like that. So, and beyond that, we have a high electricity rate, we have unskilled labor force, we have lack of electricity and all of those things. So what the CDC government is doing right now is going to pave the way for a sustainable economic growth. What do I mean? For example, for you to have economic growth, you have to have reliable and stable electricity. You have to have a skilled labor force. You have to have a good health sector. You have to have good educational sector, good vocational skill sector, all of these things, which Liberia either don't have or is underperforming. So what is happening right now in Liberia is this government is doing everything humanly possible to address all of those gaps that will lay the foundation for real sustained economic growth, now focus in the extractive industry that we have always relied on for many years. So if you look at, for example, we have right now, they, along with the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Youth and Sports has sent out, I think, about over 60 or 70 Liberians out of the country who are going to train and come back to provide vocational skill for our people in different areas, like in the HVAC area, which is the air conditioning area, and just all of those skills that we need in the country for growth, that even companies that are in Liberia can be able to harness the skills. Those people are going to come back. Some have gone in Uganda or Kenya and other parts around Africa and the world to get skills training to come back and become instructor at our TVET institutions across the country. That is going to provide skills for Liberians that will give them assurance or at least some level of security in the job market. The next thing is, if you look right now, what is happening in Liberia, we, like I said, to have economic growth, you need certain things, right? In terms of electricity, right now as we speak, we don't have stable and reliable electricity in Liberia. We all know what is happening. So what is the CDC government doing to make that situation better? Today, my focus really is on what CDC government doing. I am not going to focus on anything that has happened in the past. What has happened, and Liberians are interested in now. What are we doing to make progress?
Yeah, so quickly, in 1 minute, what is the CDC government doing to make the economy better? Quickly, 1 minute.
Yeah, so as we speak right now, we have a robust, I've been following the guys from the CLSG project, which is the Côte d'Ivoire, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea project. They are expanding. Today, if you look, you will see there are being poles, electricity poles being planted in areas that it will never before, like Kakata. They're trying to expand electricity, hopefully in the short future to places like Grand Bassa, Kakata, Bombing Hills, Cape Mine, all of these areas. What that does is that it brings in those that are interested to do like small manufacturing, light manufacturing. They can see the country now has investment attractive because if they see all of these things, they can have electricity, they can have skilled labor, they can have a good health facility. So in terms of the economy, there are a lot of things that constitute the economy, but as we go along, I will provide you with more insight, more detail on the specific of these things, because I know you say I got less than a minute, but I sure we still got a long time here to go in depth into all of these other things that
Surely we will do, and thank you for that opening statement. And I come to you, Martin. The economy, first of all, do you agree or not that we have economic mess on our hands?
The mess is too big. And, you know, when you ask MacCullay, he didn't actually focus on the economy. He started talking about education and other issues. But let me premise my presentation on the fact that the CDC-led government, you know, promised a lot relative to economic growth and productivity. When you look at the structure of the Liberian economy, it is import-based, neoclassical. You know, because our economy is import-based, we often experience a lot of shocks, exogenous and endogenous shocks. So in 2017, Mr. C, the CDC at that time was contesting for the presidency, and they promised 4 pillars. Pillar number 1, power to the people. Pillar number 2, the economy and jobs. Pillar number 3, sustaining the peace. And pillar number 4, good governance and transparency. Let us put the debate in context by looking at pillar number 2, of which your question is anchored to, the economy and jobs. What the CDC actually promised? 12 promises. If you look at the PAPD, there are 12 promises. And I just want to run through some of them. Number 1, they said they will provide 1,000 jobs in a period of 5 years. Number 2, they said they will reduce tariffs on imports, review concession agreements, ensure concession companies fulfill social corporate responsibilities. Number 5, stabilize the rapid decline in the value of the local currency, invest in manufacturing and industrialization. Number 8, give the economy back to Liberians. Number 9, introduce non-discriminatory loan and grant facilities. These are just a few promises made by the CDC in the PAPD. Now let me deal with the real issues. What are the numbers? What are the numbers currently under the CDC? If you take a panoramic look, Mr. C, you agree with me that the economy is in dire need. The economy is in free fall under the CDC-led government. How can I justify this? The current rate of inflation under the CDC-led government is the highest since 1847, 31% according to the IMF. I'm giving you recent statistics to give you an outlook of the economy under the CDC-led government. Inflation rate under Mr. Weah is 81% at an all-time high since 1847. Let us go to the depreciation of local currency, because they said to us that they were going to increase the value of the local currency as opposed to the US dollars. What is the condition now of our local currency? Our local currency is weak in terms of purchasing power. 20.3% decline in the value of our local currency. According to the Central Bank of Liberia last year report, 2019, 20.3% decline. That means our local currency continues to depreciate, which is more dangerous for us. Let us go to current account deficit. Current account deficit has diminished by 23.3% of our GDP, right? According to the Central Bank of Liberia. You know, let us go to trade deficit. What is our trade deficit as a country under Weah? Again, for the first time, 17.7% of our GDP. Trade deficit for the first time is at an all-time high. Let us go to fiscal deficit. Fiscal deficit has widened from 4.8% of our GDP in 2017 under Madam Sally to 5.5% under George Weah. So do you call this cleaning the mess? Is this cleaning the mess, Mr. C? Under Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, fiscal deficit was 4.8%. Under Mr. Weah, fiscal deficit has increased to 5.5%. Under Madam Sirleaf, our economy was growing at the rate of 3.4%. Under Mr. Weah, we are at 1.4%. As a result of this crisis, we are back to zero, the origin of the graph. Let us go further. I'm telling you why we are in a mess, and they have created this mess even further. Now, let us look at jobs. They said they will create 1 million jobs because the PAPD came into existence last year, and 2018 November. So we have like 5 years to create 1 million jobs. Where are the jobs, Mr. C? Go to Firestone. People are losing their jobs. They recently carried out downsize. Go to Western Cluster, downsize. Go to almost all of the international multi-million concession companies. Our people are losing their jobs. So instead of creating jobs under the CDC-led government, our people are losing their jobs. According to latest report, over 80% of them do not have jobs to do. Now, let me say this. I want to be more concise. Firestone downsized 6,500 workers, which affects 4,000 Liberians directly and indirectly. M&G Gold Company, 160 employees were downsized. Turkish Mining Company, 153 employees were downsized. So our people continue to be downsized at these various companies, Mr. C. Let us look at foreign investment, which is a major component of the economy. Because the more foreign investors you have, the more companies come into the country, the more you have inflow of foreign currencies, which stabilizes the economy. Since Mr. Weah came to power, I challenge anybody, including Mr. MacCullay, to show me a single foreign investment company that has come to Liberia and even invested 10 million. I challenge Mr. MacCullay. Since Mr. Weah came to power, when Ellen Johnson came to power, we saw Anandako, we saw Golden Viridian, we saw China Union, we saw Total, the French petrol giant, we saw Chevron, we saw ExxonMobil. You know, all of these companies put to man.
All right, Martin,
you know, all of these companies need.
You have one more minute to conclude your opening statement.
So considering all of these facts, another component is agriculture. CDC promised to improve agriculture. Where is the agriculture productivity? Look at the budget, the very budget that CDC controls. 1.4% of the overall national budget is appropriated to agriculture, which is in violation of the Maputo Declaration of Zaire. The 2000 Maputo Declaration says every African government must appropriate at least 10% of this national budget to agriculture. The CDC has said to us, in order for us to jumpstart the economy, we must focus on agriculture. But why are they appropriating 1.4% of our entire budget to agriculture instead of 10% threshold? So it is unfortunate for anybody to tell us that this CDC is doing the best. Let me just conclude on this point. Mr. C.
Yeah, quickly.
When you look at the economy currently, we are in a free fall. You know, considering the fact that we now have a global pandemic, a lot of economic activities have been disrupted. There will be decline. In fact, under the CDC, are you aware that we had a decline of 101 million for
all right, Martin. Martin, keep that thought. Your time is out. Let's come back to Mr. Wleh. Thank you, right there. Mr. Wleh, earlier when you spoke, you basically tried to look at the elements of the economy, electricity. You are looking at, education. By education, your emphasis were on job training and all that. But Martin Monen spoke to the health of the economy. You're talking about FDI. You're talking about our balance sheet and all those things that point to the major economic indicators. You want to respond to that. And he said, CDC now is creating more mess. So what do you say to that as a rebuttal?
Yeah. Firstly, I would say, Mr. C, it will be my hope that you will kind of maybe monitor the time in a more attentive way and try to distribute the time to the both of us equally.
Fair point. Fair point. Yeah. You go. You got 5 minutes. I'm keeping the time.
So my point, I was coming from a different background, and where I was coming from here is the fact that, it's easy to criticize. See, it's easy. And I think folks listening to us and even the CDC today, unfortunately, a lot of guys in the CDC before, when CDC was opposition, was pretty easy to do what Martin's doing, right? To sit there, this is that is, and it sounds good. It's easily marketable. It gives you fame because obviously in the cyber world, the CDC has lost the cyber war in terms of communication. But I'm a realistic and practical person. Regardless of what you want to say or how you want to say it, there are certain things that will kind of drive economic growth. Without these things, you cannot have any sustained economic growth. All of the things, like I said today, I don't want to go back to the past, but it's like if you listen to Martin's claim, you're talking about where we have all these companies, all these FDIs and stuff you're calling. Where did it, all of these investments, where it led us to? It led us to be among the 5 poorest countries in the world. So I'm not going to that debate. No way. I don't want to go back there because there is so much to focus on there. But let's leave it. Let's look at where we are today. How can we leave from where we are? And what are the things that the government doing? And, you know, for example, if you look at the economy today, we had we just launched, we opened the steel factory, right? That was open, was it what, last year or year before last? That is going to help in terms of providing jobs, not probably in thousands like we should pray, and, you know, but it's going to help because Liberia is an underdeveloped country, so the demand for steel is very high. So it's going to help in terms of us saving some of our foreign currency. Let's look at the Chinese plywood factory that was open again recently. That hopefully, I was just listening to the general manager. They have a potential of employing up to 5,000 Liberians. Okay, but more beyond that is going to what? Create foreign currency too for the economy, because the last time I was following the exported over 100 containers of softwood and stuff like that are going to bring in money, millions of dollars, you know, and we're going to get taxes. And they are also provided, just the other time, trained over 200 Liberian technicians. I'm not talking about regular workers, but technicians that will be able to work in that sector. That skill, you cannot take it from those people. Okay, but it comes back to the same point I started with. Matthew and I, we can dance around about, oh, there's Liberia, there, you know, and stuff like that. Yeah, it will sound good in a lot of people that are already pessimistic about Liberia. Yeah, but the reality remains, I'm not interested in right now of all this back and forth. I'm interested what constitutes, how can our economy grow? And is the government doing those things that can give us general economic growth? Look at our historical data. It tells you clearly, right, that we have always focused on the extractive industry. What has it led us? Nowhere. If you look at the early time he's talking about, we have the Chevron, the kind of renewable, we have all of these people that came around. But what it led us to being one of the poorest countries in the world, because these one besides all of the other factors, one is because we did not make the right investment in terms of investing in our people, the skills that our people need, in terms of investing in our infrastructure, the kind of infrastructure we need. Whatsoever so-called economic growth we may see. But you see, all of a sudden, today, all of our sectors will not function if we don't have these things in place. So that's why I am here today to tell you that, look, here, what is happening right now, like I acknowledged from the beginning, that we have a serious economic challenge. But what are those things that are happening to make sure that situation change? And those things that can change those situations are the things that we're listing. We have to provide skills for our people. Nobody's going to leave from anywhere around the world to go and open a small factory in Liberia when we have almost no skills in the country. Nobody's going there when we don't even have reliable electricity that we have to go run a huge generator and say, no, these are things that will not happen. So we got to be realistic. Look, we have in the presidency today, if we don't have those structures in place, if we don't have those skills, we don't have those energy reliance and stuff like that in place, we'll still be having the same debate. And we'll still have new breed of credits that will come out too, like Martin, and be calling numbers. I don't know where Martin getting numbers from, but if I look at Liberia trade balance, historical data from the World Bank, in 2017, our trade, we had a negative of 2.45 billion, right? Which was 74.42%. In 2018, I see 2.23. So, you know, there are a lot of statistics that we could go into, but I just want, because last time I was on your show, people say, oh, they're playing the blame game, So I want to leave from that era of blame game.
And I want you to conclude with this. I want you to conclude with this, Mr. Wleh. Your time is up, but I will give you additional 1 minute to conclude with it. All of the things you listed, what is the CDC doing now to put them into place so that the growth that we all want, we can get to that?
And that's the point. That's the question he hasn't answered.
That's the point I started with, and you probably.
So talk to me about skill training.
Thank you. As we speak, the Ministry of Education, along with our partners, are launching. I think the last time I checked, it was 6 new TVET schools across the country. But those schools, even including the ones that already have the existing, they are lacking the requisite teachers and stuff like that. And the only solution is to be able to have those teachers, like I stated to you. The government of Liberia has sent over 70 Liberians to go and train in those areas that we need instructors for.
And what's about funding, Mr. Wleh? What's about funding in that area? Because you just emphasized that it's a very key area to get the job done. We need the skilled people to do that. So we need the money too to train them. Tell me about the money.
When you say we need the money to train them, I'm telling you, they have already been sent out. So it needs the money.
I'm talking about budgetary allotment.
As we speak, I'm not saying they will. For what? For the people that is going out already.
Both in and out, Mr. Wleh. Both in and out. We got vocational training institution in Liberia. Talk to me about allotment being made to the institution, since that seems to be a major priority.
Yeah. If we go to the budget, the current education budget of the country, right? The government has increased the education budget by a little over $10 million. That should tell you that the government have increased. And in fact, beyond that increment, the government has also said that all those people that will be going, including those TVET programs, they will be going there free of charge. Okay, but it is one thing to offer free education to people. It is another thing to provide the quality of that free education to those people. So that is the reason why we have those people, over 70 Liberians coming by to be trained instructors that will train people in air condition maintenance, for example. That will train people in electrical technician. That will train people in all of the skills that are lacking so dearly in our country here. And look, and those are things that we should look at. We should look at. I love all the sound bites and all the criticism. It sounds good. It sounds good.
Thank you, Mr. Wleh. We'll come back to you.
That are being employed to solve those problems. That's what I'm here for.
Thank you, Mr. Wleh. Martin, you just listened to Mr. Wleh right there. It's your time to speak.
You know, Mr. CA. You know, Mr. CA, quite frankly, Mr. Wleh is unarmed. He doesn't know the facts. He doesn't even know what the CDC promised the Liberian people before and after 2017. So what he is doing, he's not even answering your questions. He is begging those questions you are asking him. But for the sake of the audience monitoring this debate, right, let me list some of the promises on the economy that CDC made. Because he was talking about infrastructure, he was talking about electricity and other things. But let's start with agriculture. Agriculture is a major component on the economy. And all of us have agreed fundamentally that in order for us to push the Liberian economy up, in order for the Liberian people to take ownership of their economy, we must invest in agroeconomic productivity. What the CDC promised, I want to put a debate in context. I want to hold CDC on the promises they made to the Liberian people. Look at agriculture. If you look at the PAPD, 7 promises made by the CDC. Number 1, they said they were going to establish an agriculture bank that will give loans to farmers, especially Liberian farmers. Are you hearing that, Mr. C? That was what the CDC promised.
I'm paying attention.
Establish an agriculture bank to give loans. Where's the agriculture bank today? Where's the agriculture bank? They also said they will formulate policies to process raw materials into finished products. Since CDC came into power, we have gone 2 years. Has they processed any raw material into finished product? The answer is no. They said they were going to provide technical, financial, and mechanical support to small-term and medium-term farmers. Where are the support? Are farmers now struggling? In fact, let me inform you that WFP, World Food Program, just said to us that in a few years from now, Liberians will experience entrenched starvation because of the reduction in food production. Right? CDC also promised to minimize export on raw wools. I'm holding them by their promises, Mr. C. Under the agricultural sector, 7 promises made. They said they were going to manufacture raw wools into furniture. Have they started that? The answer is no. They said they were going to invest in cooperatives. They said they were going to invest in cooperatives. Where are the cooperatives? They said they were going to encourage farmers to use simple machines to produce more yields. Has that been done? No. They said they were going to establish public extension workers program. These are the 7 promises on the agriculture sector. Now let's get to the issue. Why has CDC failed on the agriculture sector? Before I go to infrastructure and deal with some of those contradictions he uplifted. Now let's go to agriculture, Mr. C. It will interest you to know, like I said previously, it will interest you to know that when the CDC came in power, they reduced the budget of the agriculture sector. 2018-2019 approved national budget. The budget of the entire Ministry of Agriculture, Mr. C, $4,671,899. That is even far less than the budget of the Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs. Do you think these people care about investing in agriculture? Let us go to the Central Agriculture Research Center, CARI. The budget of CARI, 2018-2019 approved national budget on the CDC, $2,179,251. Do you think these people are do you think these people are really honest and serious about investing in agricultural research? Let's go to Cooperative Development Agency. The Cooperative Development Agency that should promote cooperatives in various counties. Listen to the budget. Listen to what they gave in the Cooperative Development Agency, $389,949. Are these people serious about jump-starting the economy, providing more jobs, ensuring that our economy doesn't experience exogenous shocks as well as endogenous shocks? CDC has created more mess. And let me say why, Mr. C.A. This is a clarion call to Mr. Weah and his government. The budget of the national legislature, you cannot even compare with the budget of the entire agriculture sector. Let me give you the budget of the entire agriculture sector. The whole sector, Mr. C.A., I'm talking about the whole sector. The entire agriculture sector budget is $7,851,066. 2018-2019 approved budget under President Weah. Listen to the budget of the legislature. The budget of the legislature, $49.2 million. The budget of Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs, $14.5 million. The budget of NSA, National Security Agency, is more than the budget of the entire agriculture sector of the country. Do you think they came to really clean mess, or they are even creating more mess? National Security Agency, $9.7 million. Executive Protection Agency, the security guards of President Weah, $7 million, almost to the budget of the entire agriculture sector. But let's go to the infrastructure he was talking about. That's why I said he came unarmed to this debate. He doesn't know the facts. Let us go to the infrastructure sector, Mr. C. What does CDC promise on infrastructural development? I just want to deal with a few issues that he pointed to, which are fallacies.
Yeah, you come back again. You have 1 minute. Yeah, you have 1 minute so he can come and respond to it. Yeah.
I just want to outline a few promises on infrastructural development. CDC made 16 promises to the people of Liberia. Promise number 1, they said they were going to install 2,000 street lights in Monrovia. Promise number 2, President Weah said he was going to construct a mini city on Bali Island. Where's the city? He said he was going to construct coastal highway. Where's the coastal highway? He said he was going to build farm to market roads. Where are the farm to market roads, Mr. C? Which promotes economic agricultural productivity. He said he was going to pay ERW highway corridor 4 lanes. Has that project started? He said he was going to refund the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation. Look at the situation now in Monrovia, Mr. C. Water scarcity was just reported by the Daily Observer newspaper. Water scarcity. They said they were going to pay feeder roads. They have not even paid more than 2 feeder roads since 2018 they came into power. They said they were going to provide affordable housing facilities for Liberians, repair MTA buses, ease transportation crisis by procuring buses for Liberians. Where are all of these promises, Mr. C? Then MacCullay wants to shift blame on President Salif, but CDC give me power. Mr. C, do you know the wage bill? The wage bill under President Salif was $202 million. CDC came into power, that amount ballooned to $302 million on the CDC because they accommodated a lot of incompetent policies.
Thank you, Martin.
Even know what to do.
Thank you, Martin.
Is that economic solution?
Thank you, Martin.
Is that the solution they brought for the people?
Thank you, Martin. Let's come to you, Mr. Wleh. You heard Martin that, CDC told us about this agriculture thing. And he talked about the budget of agriculture, comparing it with NSA and even the national legislature. I mean, it's not even close. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't want to use Martin's language of, he does not kind of equip and all the kind of childish and student politics language. I just want to focus on the issue and forget about.
Go to the issue, MacCullay. Go to the issue.
Exactly. That's what I came for. I didn't come for all that childish politicking. When I go to the issue here, Martin is sitting here.
But if you say childish, then you are far from the issue. Mr. C, I think you need to conduct the debate. The word challenge is too harsh.
Martin, let MacCullay speak.
You can't say I'm challenged. You can't say I'm challenged.
Martin, when you have your time to speak, you can respond to that. Please.
No, but the word is too harsh. To say challenge, I think you should regulate the debate.
MacCullay, Martin, I'll say this. If it is your time to speak, you can respond to that. Whatever anybody says to you,
so
you have your time.
I can use any word on him, right? I can use any word on him on your platform.
Yes. In as much as it's not vulgar, But if it is descriptive, I will take that. Yes. Go ahead, Mr. Wleh. You are protected.
Okay, again, you know, life tolerance is a very important virtue in life, you know. But I just want our audience to, I know there are a lot of people, mostly, especially in the internet cycle and stuff like that, there are a lot of people who are against the CDC-led government or the Weah-led government for different reasons. And, you know, some are genuine, some are all kinds of reasons. But listen to Martin. He said when CDC took over the wage bill was 202 million. You listen to that part when he said it? And how can Martin, you know, it's frustrating when I see people say they are intellectual, they have this talk show, they are running their own talk show, and then they have no regard for the facts or researching the facts. When CDC took over the wage bill, was over 300 million. Anybody listening to or access Liberia, tap on Google right now, Liberia national budget. Even if you tap this year budget, it will give you up to 2017, 2018 fiscal year, what the budget was. So when CDC took over, Martin, your information is completely false, and I beg you to respect the truth and make better research before you come public all of this false information. The next thing, you know, you're talking about so many things, in fact, that I was trying to jot some of them down. You talk about the agriculture budget, comparing it with the legislature. You see, that is unfortunate, especially him being a student of economics will come. The first thing, the legislature budget and the agriculture ministry budget, one, the legislature budget, it is mostly in the expenditure arm of the government. That is to say, most of the money that is sent to the legislature are for wage bills and stuff like that, and running the national legislature. Okay, that particular budget, in fact, what George Weah has managed to do is to save the Liberian people several million since George Weah took over. And I hope Martin can respect the fact the legislature budget, in fact, especially this current budget, it has reduced. It has reduced. So the legislature have always been on the fence, spending and always increasing, which all Liberians across know very well. But the Weah government have come and said no. For the first time, the national legislature took about 30% cut. You know what that means? That is something that is commendable. But you know, if we go to the different sector, I don't want us, and one thing he said is that too, I said that very clearly. I came here today not to blame Madam Selly or the past government. I told you that I'm over with it, Martin, if you didn't pay attention to that. I am here today to focus on those things that are being done in Liberia, that I see that those things that have the potential for economic growth, especially in a sustained way. I've seen repeatedly, historically, we have always been focused. Maybe you're waiting for us again. You talk about investor, and all of this. The first thing, Martin, you are Liberian. Almost all of the resources you get in Liberia, except for very few reserves we have right now, were given away. So when you say, I don't know what you're working for, you want George, we have to go and reissue Putu Mountain again to another company, or to go back again and give bond mines to somebody else. No, all of those things were already given away. So what they're going to is trying to work with those companies, for example, going to a company like Asila Metal, telling them, look, at least, man, let some level of value addition be done before you take away the iron ore. And if that is done, you're going to have more Liberians being employed, you're going to have more skills being developed. Okay, you are very aware that President Weah met with Asila Metal the last time, and they had a very fruitful discussion, right? Okay, we still have the issue too of the Buchanan Port ongoing. So there are a lot of things that are happening. If you want to pay attention to them, I tell Liberian people, I am here to tell people the positive things that are happening. If you want to pay attention to the positive things, go ahead. All of the jargons and description and stuff like that you'll be hearing. Every day you wake up, you're hearing. People telling you, oh, the sky is falling. The reality remains, Liberia is a difficult case for economic growth. And we can only realize economic growth regardless of who is president if we make the rightful investment in those things that can help economic growth. The energy sector I was talking about, for example, look at the potential. Right now, I was talking, a lot of things people criticize. Quickly before we go, you see you telling about to tell my time and stuff, but I was talking to a friend today who in Grand G there, and he was telling me, he said, look, after a lot of people were criticizing the government decided to take away all the 3-day free call and this and that, so we can see improvement in our technology sector, especially the IT sector. People are criticizing, but one of those that are criticizing it today is benefiting right now in Grand They're working because of that increase. The Lone Star and other companies are investing, building new towers and stuff, and you were fortunate to get a job that you made good money and sign a land cruiser. I tell people, look, development, sometimes economic development, especially in an underdeveloped country like Liberia, it might be slow, but it has to be targeted at certain areas, and that is exactly what is happening.
Thank you, Mr. Wleh. Thank you, Mr. Wleh.
You talk about road. You talk about road too. I don't know if you don't want me to talk about that. You talk about road access to, and for my people to say that and say, George, we have never constructed even 2 community roads. That's unfortunate. Then even the listing of those.
I didn't say community road.
Oh, then maybe you overspoke there, or you misspoke rather. But I was exactly
I said feeder roads. Farm to market roads, feeder roads.
Okay, if you talk about farm to market road, for example, Martin, let's go to Nimba County as we speak right now. You know the road from what Ganta to Sanikwele to look at to border. It's being constructed.
But that's not farm to market road.
No, let's do that. Let me get the relationship.
You don't even know the definition of farm to market road.
Martin, you will have your time to respond.
Come on, that's unfortunate. So when they say farm to market road, you don't know the definition because you are focusing on the road will be strictly and only going to farm. No. On that particular corridor, you have a lot of people, for example, our cocoa sector. That particular corridor is a very essential part of those that are cocoa farming in Liberia. So if you only look at it to be, oh, there's a highway going to Sanikwele and to Guinea, that's unfortunate. But that also contributes to what? The agriculture sector to a large extent. We all know, for example, we talk right now, the ECOWAS Bank provided $100 million that is already approved. I said,
Mr. Wleh,
going towards building roads from Maryland County to Shino County, $100 million for that road project. And more being the economy. What the government has done with that particular policy, right now, if you go to the Ministry of Public Works,
Mr. Wleh,
policy now that every road project, 25% will be given to Liberian-owned companies. That means millions, tens of millions of dollars going to Liberian-owned companies.
Mr. Wleh,
yes,
Mr. Wleh, thank you so very much. Let's do this. Folks in cyberspace, you are watching Focus on Liberia, and it is a debate between student Martin Kollie and Mr. MacCullay Wleh. We are discussing politics. Our topic is whether or not the CDC is cleaning the mess or creating more mess, and we also want to know whether as a country we are progressing or retrogressing. Martin believes CDC is creating more mess. Martin believes Liberia is retrogressing. And then Mr. MacCullay Wleh believes the opposite. MacCullay, close with this. Looking at all the economic indicators and looking at the numbers.
Mr. Sid, I think MacCullay just finished.
Yes. We have to close on this sector and move to another thing. We spend 45 million on one sector. That is unacceptable.
I have to speak lastly because he has spoken 2 times, 3 times. There is a third time.
All right,
Martin, run the show.
Martin, go ahead.
Thank you very much. There are a few clarifications to make, Mr. Sid. But before I can even make those clarifications, it is important for us to bring on people who have the facts and people who deal in truth telling. The first thing is the Ganta to Yekepa road he mentioned. It is a making of the Ellen Johnson Wleh government. It is a making of the Ellen Johnson Wleh government. Check the records. He doesn't have the facts. He's talking about all of the concession agreements were already done by the administration of Ellen Johnson Wleh. That's a lie. Some of the concession agreements were done by Ellen, and there is still possibility for review. He needs to read the 2005 Mineral Development Law, or I send the Mineral Development Law to him. Existing government can review all concession, and this is why CDC said in her promise, honor section 35. Look at the PAPD. He's not even reading the economic plan of the CDC. He comes to debate as a weekly, right? CDC promised to review concession agreements entered into by companies and the past government. Go to section 35 of the PAPD. He's not even reading what CDC said. He comes to the debate as a weekly, as a novice to the facts. CDC herself said she was going to review all of those concession agreements entered into by those companies and the government of President Ellen Johnson Wleh. Up to date, they have not reviewed a single concession agreement. Who takes the blame for that, Mr. C?
Mr. Kollie.
This was the very same CDC who said they were going to reduce tariffs on basic commodities of imports. You know how people are suffering in our country because of increased tariffs? You know what happening now, Mr. C? Liberians in the diaspora, investors are passing their goods and services through other ports of entry. Guinea, Togo, Sierra Leone, and other ports of entry, and now Liberia. So we are losing more foreign currencies. Hence, the rate of inflation continues to increase, 31%.
Mr.
According to the IMF, at an all-time high. So my point is, let me just conclude on this note.
And that's what I'm trying to do. And sometimes when I call you guys' attention, you need to give me time. And you will do the talking. I'm only asking. And what I want us to do now, we can't spend 1 hour on one sector when we have 3 sectors to discuss. And what I'm saying is we have dealt with the economy to a larger extent now, looking at the economic indicators. Are we better off? And that I want for each of you to close with. So let's start with you, Martin. Looking at all the economic indicators, and you can do a summary and close. Are we better off as a country economically?
How can we be better off, Mr. C, when Liberia, under President Weah, has been ranked as one of the poorest countries, according to November 29, 2018, 24/7 Wall Street Journal report? Liberia has been ranked the poorest, not even one of the poorest. Right? How can we be better, Mr. C, when Liberia is the worst country on planet Earth to do business? According to Forbes magazine 2018 report, how can we be better off, Mr. C, when Liberia is the 8th unhappiest country in the world, according to the United Nations 2019 World Hunger Report? How can we be better off, Mr. C, when the rate of inflation is 31% under Mr. Weah? How can we be better off, Mr. C, when our currency has depreciated by 20.3%? How can we be better off when current account deficit is 23.3%, according to the Central Bank of Liberia? How can we be better off, Mr. C, when trade deficit accounts for 17.7% of our GDP? How can we be better off, Mr. C, when growth forecast is 1.4%? As a result of this pandemic, we are back to 0. How can we be better off when people are losing their jobs? Thousands of Liberians, stores are closing. Stores are closing because marketers are more than buyers. Sellers are more than buyers. How can we be better off when Lebanese foreign nationals are being empowered more than Liberian entrepreneurs? How can we be better off? Look at all the road projects in the country. They are given to President Weah's friends. How can we be better off when entrepreneurs in the country are not being empowered through loans and grants? How can we be better off when you have the interest rate of the country hovering around 14%? Who goes for loan to invest?
Thank you.
Who goes for loan to invest? Considering all of these facts, considering all of these facts, the CDC has failed in the agriculture sector. Where are the 1 million jobs? They cannot show any. And you talking about reclaiming the economy? Liberians are yet to reclaim the economy. Where is the agriculture bank you talk about to give loans to farmers?
Thank you.
Where are the infrastructure projects? You talk about coastal highway. And let me just state this fact.
Martin,
the corridor between Ganta and Yekepa is not a feeder road because he said it is a feeder road. Feeder road, you talking about market to farm road is a component of the feeder road. That is a highway corridor, not a feeder road. He needs to get that part very clear.
Thank you. Thank you. And same question to you, Mr. Wleh. Looking at all the economic indicators, inflation, FDR, all the numbers out there, looking at the price index and all that, are we better off?
Well, before I answer that question, again, you know, people come and they just come with all this emotion, not interested in the facts, the better when. He clearly lied when he talked about even the wage bill that was inherited by the government. Again, he came back and he said, look, Martin, when I say, what are we going to give, or you talk about foreign investors coming, and you go, you say, you talk about reviewing of concession. Reviewing of concession is different from having something to give up. Reviewing concession does not in any way change your lot if you come to look at all of the details. But also, he's struggling again with the whole idea of feeder road. Look, I tell people, man, you don't have to even have all this. Just go to Google and ask Google what is feeder road. And I don't want to go, like I said, you know, those are petty things and stuff like that, using all kinds of terminology of novice and this and that. when you come, Martin, you talk about facts, statistics. It's not about coming and calling numbers and not even understanding where the numbers coming from. The first thing, if you look at a global economic review, Liberia is not even.
Mr. Wleh, did you get the question?
I got your question, but also it's an opportunity for me to respond to some of the misinformation the brother is spreading out there.
What the time for it?
If we look at, yeah, but you're not trying to keep a young man, just exercise restraint, you know. Look, if you look at what is happening in Liberia right now, like I said,
spending much time saying nothing.
Liberia is right now better off in the context of the manner and form in which now we are going to address, or we are addressing what is economic growth. Instead of us having, like, historically, for example, we have had growth without development.
Are the numbers there to prove it?
So, but I just
you can't release no numbers.
No, Martin, stop. Don't interrupt the brother, Martin.
No, it's unfortunate. Actually, if I knew that this is how the exchange was going to be, I'm not going to accept this invitation. But again, let's go to it, because for me, I believe in professionalism. Let's go to the real issue here. If you talk about the number, I'm not a fan of coming and quoting my own numbers. But as we go to the other sector, I will tell you, I'll provide you numbers from those reliable organizations that will tell you that we are better off. Okay, for example, if you talk about the economy is a broad issue. But for me to come here right now, there has not been a real review or economic review since the government took power, because they have been in 2 years. Most of the time, most of the review come in, they give surface reviews sometimes annually, but also most tangible reviews or most in-depth review are for at least 3 years. Okay, so in CDC-led government, by the end of this year, we'll see a lot of review on what is happening in the other sector. You talk about agriculture sector. Let's look at the agriculture sector today. We are far better off than we were before. Today in Liberia, he's not following. Over 353 acres of land rest harvest in Bog County. Go Lofa, we have hundreds of land acres harvest in Lofa County today by Liberia. Just the other day, the Liberian government, through African Bank, provided loan for our rice farmers. I listened to the president of the Rice Farmers Association of Liberia, not MacCullay, not anybody, not politicians, but I listened to him as he spoke. And he was very clear that is going to be a major transformation in what they want to do, because they needed that particular money to access certain equipment that are going to make life better for them.
What about process, Mr. Wleh? What about process?
About what?
Process some basic commodities.
Thank you. You bring me to another very important point. The brother said, I said, George, we are probably going to reduce tariff. Again, I want to listen to know. Even Google, you will see it. George, we have reduced tariff on 2,000 goods in Liberia. Are you not following, or you don't know what tariff is? George, we have reduced tariff on 2,000 goods.
And is that matching with the prices on the market?
Listen, prices on the market. See, let me tell you something. In Liberia will practice what we would call so-called capitalistic economy, which is, I would say, mixed economy. What's all you want to term it? Liberia, the government, in reality, should never even try to tell people what to sell the goods. Provide an environment that people will compete to be able to share their goods. If you want to talk about tariffs, why people go to Guinea? People are always been passing through Guinea. Martin, I run a clearing forwarding firm in Liberia for many years. I went to Guinea, I went to Suriname, I went far to go to British to Liberia. So the reason why those things happen, I can give you an expert opinion on why those things happen, because I did it for over a decade. So you don't know why they happen. So just come here. But again, you got audience that are willing to listen to those things. You got audience that are willing to listen to those things. I'm a very sure I shipped to Liberia. I've cleared for people. I've gone to Togo, Guinea, other places there for goods for different reasons.
All right, Mr. Wleh, thank you. Again, folks in cyberspace, you are watching Focus on Liberia.
Commodities, the president reduced tariff on. That's a fact. It's not my opinion.
Thank you, Mr. Wleh. Again, folks in cyberspace, you are watching Focus on Liberia. As you can see,
I'm having a problem with my volume.
These gentlemen are having a debate here. Mr. Kollie, we can hear you. Don't worry about the volume. We can hear you. All right, let's go to another segment.
Let me rejoin quickly.
If you rejoin, we might have to restart, but try. Let's see what happens. All right, folks, in cyberspace, you are watching Focus on Liberia, and it's the hour of politics, and we are having a debate between Mountain Kollie and Mr. MacCullay Wleh. Mr. Wleh, while we wait for Mountain, I don't know whether we can continue. He's always having issue with his volume, I think because somebody was trying to call him or something like that. We will be moving on to the next segment, which is good governance. Let's see whether Mountain can join on here quickly. For back with us, yeah, we are trying to get Mountain back in. All right, Mountain.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
I was having a problem with my volume.
All right. Yeah, sometimes when it happens, that means somebody was trying to call you. All right, let's move to good governance, gentlemen. And on good governance, we'll be starting with, freedom of speech, press, and political assembly. In this segment, I think we're going to start with Mountain, because the first segment we started with Mr. Wleh. Mountain, the CDC as an institution, I know for a fact that they were in this area of protesting, which they argued at the time was their right to do so, and they were actually right. But what we witness is that in this CDC administration, CDC have been more than afraid of protests. And so the question is, are we making progress in terms of the freedom of press, of speech, and political assembly? Because we listen to the CDC sometimes saying that they were weaponized, and going after people who criticize them. And we have the examples to show if somebody want to question that. So the question is, are we making progress in these areas?
Thank you, Mr. C. The first thing I would like to say, protest. Protest is permissible under the doctrine of democracy according to Article 17 of the 1986 Constitution. That guarantees protests, right? CDC as an existing government should be in the position to protect these international, regional, and national protocols. And I just want to list them quickly before dealing with your question. Number one, Article 19 of the 1948 Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which talks about press freedom. Number two, the 1991 Windhoek Declaration. Number three, Article 15 of the 1986 Constitution. Number four, the 2007 Table Mountain Declaration. Number five, the 2010 Freedom of Information Act, the FOI law. Number six, the 2019 Abdullah Kamara Act of Press Freedom. Number seven, the 2007 Telecommunication Law. It was interesting to know that all of these laws, which guarantee press freedom, free speech, and other democratic values, have been violated, grossly violated by the CDC government. You asked about press freedom in Liberia. Is the press really free in Liberia, Mr. C? My answer is no. My answer is a big no, a capital no. And these are facts to justify my position. There are instances where the press in Liberia has been attacked by the CDC-led government. I'm going to give you 30 instances to justify why there is no press freedom whatsoever under the CDC-led government. Number one, on March 11, 2020, there was a bloody attack on journalist James K. Kearney of the new newspaper about police officers. Number two, on March 3, 2020, the detention of Truth FM journalist Ayi Davis was detained by LMP while journalist David was giving media coverage to economic crimes court advocate Emmanuel Savage. Number three, on March 3, 2020, a journalist from Magic FM, his name is Salam Kaloko. He was also beaten and arrested by the Liberia National Police. On February 2020, reporter Benjamin Toby of the Cyclone newspaper spent a night in jail simply because he reported a story about a police officer. I'm giving you instances, Mr. C. In February 2020, again, a female reporter, her name is Joseph Isaki. She sustained severe wounds after she was forcibly pulled out of the motorbike by a police officer. In February 2020, public radio correspondent in River says, Methuselah technocrat Gay, he was arrested and detained at the Aquatown Police Detachment for a post he wrote on Facebook concerning the commander of that police detachment. In February 2020 again, journalist Brian Duo of Maryland was assaulted by LMP officers at a checkpoint in Riverside while en route to Harper. In January 2020, reporter Christopher Walker of Front Page Africa, he was severely flogged by a group of LMP officers at the SKD Sports Stadium. Coming to January 2020 also, Zina Miller. You can remember the incident of Zina Miller. Peace be to his ashes. He complained of severe wounds as a result of police brutality at the SKD Sports Stadium during the contest meet. And I just want to pay homage to journalist Zina Miller of OKFM as I continue providing my analysis. Now, let's go to January 2020 again. VOA Sprinkle, Moses Kollie Gasewu. He was also attacked by three security officers at the very SKD during the contest post meet.
All right, Martin, I get your point. You are trying to name instances. You can't name all 20. And when you come by again, you can continue to name them. 30? And how long is it going to take you to do that? All right, so you are giving example of those 30 instances. Conclude on press freedom. You know, it's not only press freedom, you know, political assembly as well, and then freedom of speech. So please, quickly.
Okay, let's go to political assembly. But before going to political assembly, you were in the country and you saw how Honorable Yeke Koluba was attacked, he and his family. You know, their residence was fired at by unknown men. You were in the country when CDC supporters, ex-warlords, attacked the station of Henry Costa, talk show host Henry Costa. You were in the country when journalist Frank Sewola was attacked by Moses Akaros Gray, an executive of the CDC. You were in the country when Jere Talk, a Blackboard News Online at the FE Junction was damaged by unknown men. You were also in the country when the legislature threatened to arrest Philip Brown for exposing the government over the 16 billion scandal. You were also in the country when Minister of Information, Eugene Nangwe, said the PUL is useless. The president of Liberia is useless. You listened to Samuel Tua say he will weaponize against the media. Let's go to protests. You saw how the government cut off the internet during the June 7 protests. June 7, 2019 protests. The government shut down the entire internet. That was an infringement on the rights of Liberians. You were in the country when the government dispersed protesters with tear gas during the latest January protests posted by the Council of Patriots.
All right, keep the rest, Martin. Let's get to Mr. Wleh. Keep the rest. Your time is out. Mr. Wleh, talking about freedom of the press, political assembly, and speech.
Okay. You know,
how are we doing? Are we making progress in this area?
Yeah, you know, like I keep saying, man, see, the truth remains, it's easier to come and just get all these talking points written down, naming instances and stuff like that. But if we should go country by country and list instances when press people have been intimidated or harassed or been experiencing any form of violence, then there will be almost no country on earth that will even qualify. But let's go to the facts, the realities. What the realities are. When you talk about press freedom, good governance, freedom to assemble, all of these things, the first thing you should look at is the laws that are on the book first and the enforcement of those laws. Okay, any logical person, those are the first thing. It's illegal to exercise your right to free speech. That is what I want people to focus on. One, in Liberia, what George Weah has done with the passing of the Abdullah Kamara bill, which made it before, like Martin should be aware, probably, and you are aware, and our listeners are aware, before in Liberia, it was what? You could be sued for labor and all of these things as a journalist or anybody trying to exercise your right to free speech, right? But today, here, can Martin or anybody who is honest, who is objective, who respects realities and facts, argue that those things, those laws still exist in Liberia? Nobody can argue that that law no longer exists. And why it no longer exists? Because George Weah is a guy that does not believe in all the talking, talking is not his strength. He has said as a military repeatedly, he believes in action. What he has done is went back to the legislature and did what presidents prior to him failed to do by coming and passing the Abdullah Kamara law that protects journalists. After even when we were signatory to the Table Mountain Declaration, we still had those laws, those labor laws and stuff that threaten free speech. Those laws, so they no longer exist in Liberia because of George Weah. So can anybody say it is worse? Then probably you're trying to be political. But if you want to be objective, I will tell you that it is better. It is better. That goes to the issue of
and Mr. Wleh, this thing is on paper, but it's a practical, and practical in the sense that is the government respecting that?
That's the point I come into today, and that's a beauty. I love those kind of part. You know, it makes me feel happy to discuss that particular thing about Liberia. Now look at today in Liberia. I was in Liberia on multiple occasions where we have political prisoners. We have media people being jailed and all of those things. In Liberia, I was there. On some instances, I went and helped to work along with people to help some of those people getting out. One of my friends, brother, who is a popular radio or maybe podcaster today, okay, we went on several instances to help getting out. But today in Liberia, you go in Liberia, the radio stations, everybody, in fact, everybody that gets cell phone now is a journalist in Liberia. Everybody with a cell phone in Liberia is a journalist. The amount of TV stations I go to, just from the other TV stations, people interview, people saying what they want to say, is unprecedented in Liberia. Right now, Liberia is one of the great examples when it comes to press freedom on the continent of Africa. Look at today, in Liberia, we have all of those talk shows. Too much Rate, Philip Brown, what you call the guy, we share from Inquiry newspaper. We have all the different community radio stations. People, everybody talking. People saying the worst of things against the government. But when they finish with all those statements, they go to entertainment center, they enjoy themselves. They go home, they sleep sound. That's how it should be, and that's how it is. So if anybody wants to say here today, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of assembly is worse in Liberia, then you are being political. Today, we have Boba Molu, Akaras Gray, Jefferson Koji, Henry Costa, Bandara Patrick, and you leave there several students from UL that were in prison, that was suppressed on multiple occasions, taken to NSA headquarters, threatened with snakes for their testimony, all kinds of things. Are those things happening in Liberia? No more.
And so finally, on political assembly, Mr. Wleh, and finally on political assembly.
Political assembly. I see today, almost everybody now having protests. Anybody get grievance with the government at protest. I see the other community, which are all part of assembly, people protesting on the back road here. I see people all over now, people protesting. I see on numerous occasions, in fact, I was reading one time on the U.S. Embassy website, Facebook page, rather, when they were commending the Liberian National Police, man.
And has there not been any casualties so far?
When you say any casualty, for example, the last time the police, was it June that they had a step down campaign, the second round?
January 6th.
January 6th, okay, yeah, the first one was June. In January, when they had that step down stuff, right? What happened? Even our partners, you go to many of the websites, they will tell you, the Liberian National Police, when they went out of this birthday crack, unlike before in Liberia, where people were being shot out with live bullets, this time around the police carry water canister to disperse the crowd. All around the world, police use tear gas, they use water canister, they use non-lethal things to disperse crowd. In that thing, when people are crowded, somewhere movement, somebody could get injured. But can you look at that? Even the great America that I live in today, I've seen Black Lives Matter guys being manhandled by police. I've seen a lot of things that sometimes make me really proud of Liberia. So have we made progress? We have made tremendous progress. Almost everybody with cell phone in Liberia is a journalist, get their own TV station, get their own talk show, and everything.
Thank you.
So that is not even a debate for any objective person at all.
Thank you. And Mountain, MacCullay talking about the proliferation of media institutions, newspapers, radio stations, and also everybody talking And if you look at the amount of people who have gone against the government in a more vicious way verbally, compared to those the government or its operators have gone after, if you look at the percentage, my honest opinion is that the government will get a better percentage. Or are you saying that there should be none at all?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. CA. Again, I want to reiterate my initial position that in terms of good governance, freedom of speech, press freedom, and so forth, the government has flunked. And there are two reports we need to reference to justify this. Okay. Number one, the 2019 Millennium Challenge Corporation report. For the first time since 2009, our government has failed in the MCC scorecard. You know, this is a scorecard consisting of 20 independent third-party indicators that measure good governance in countries around the world. Are you aware that because we have failed under Mr. Weah, we are now going to receive 257 million from the MCC? Look at the scorecard of Liberia. Let me go to Civil Liberty, for example. He's talking about press freedom, free speech, more radio stations are being opened. I challenge him to name me 2 radio stations on the CDC that have been opened, just 2. All of those stations were open under Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Let's go to Civil Liberty. What is Liberia's scorecard according to the Millennium Challenge Corporation? Civil Liberty 35. 35, Liberia. Miserably failed. Let's go to political rights. 27, the score of Liberia, political rights, 27. Miserably failed under Mr. Weah. Let's go to control of corruption, 52. Another failure. You know, so if you look at the 20 indicators as reported by the MCC scorecard, 2019 November, you agree with me that the government has failed relative to good governance. He's talking about Honor Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, Akara Gray went to jail, Morba Malu went to jail. Who has ever protested in the history of Liberia more than CCDC? No political party since 1847 has ever had protests or political gatherings to express their dissent to the existing establishment more than CDC. No political party. CDC held caskets, seditions. Go on Facebook, the pictures are there. They held caskets on their heads against the government of President Sirleaf. They disrupted free flow of traffic. They looted, in fact. At least during this time, people are more mature and orderly in terms of expressing themselves through protests. You know, you talking about people, you know how many persons have died under the government? Look at Tyrone Brown, Journalist Tyrone Brown for Super FM. Up to now, the measure of his death is yet to be uncovered. Look at the central bank employee who died. I'm just forgetting his name. The central bank employee who died.
Matthew Innes.
Now, the measure of his death is that. Come again?
Matthew Innes.
Matthew Innes. Matthew Innes. You know how many people have died under this government? You're talking about people going to jail? You know how many people have gone to jail? I was at the University of Liberia when the government of President Weah arrested 13 students and put them in jail more than the statutory period. You're talking about Jam Morba Malu, Akara Gray going to jail. 13 students went to jail for more than 72 hours, which was a violation of their right according to the penal law of the Republic of Liberia in 1972. You know, the brother needs to read. He needs to research. You know how many people went to jail? You know how many people were fired at? The vehicle of Henry Costa was fired at. The home of Yake Koluba was fired at. Today, the government is still pursuing Yake Koluba in court because he is a critical voice. You know how many critical voices? Today, I'm out of the country because of the the vicious pursuit of the government. You know how many activists?
Are you saying that the government went after you, Martin? Are you trying to say here that the government went after you?
Of course. I'm in exile today because of the action of the government. I'm speaking to you from my own new location in exile because of what the government did. You know, so what I'm saying, when you talk about good governance, go to the latest report of the U.S. State Department.
Martin, hold on.
Go to the latest report of the U.S. State Department. Let me download it quickly.
Yeah, hold on, Martin. As you do that, I want to know.
It is unfortunate.
It said that some individuals were trying to, like, Justina Taylor you. Is that what you're trying to say?
You know, and that's the fact. On the day of my graduation, specifically December 11, 2019, I was pursued viciously by Turkish elements of the Sabu unit and the Zebra unit. Look at that. They are not even depending on the National Police Force. They are establishing vicious units, Turkish units. You saw what Jefferson Koji did in district number 30 with the Sabu unit. You saw what Jefferson Koji and others from the CDC did in district number 10 when the children had party. You saw what they did in district number 15 during the situation of Tella Ure when she was contesting against Abu Kamara. You want me to name a lot of instances where critical voices and members of the opposition were attacked on the day of Darius DeLong's celebration after he won the senatorial election at Liberty Party headquarters? Are you aware about that instance? Even a deputy police director is being attacked by seditionists. Look at the structure of the current police, Mr. CA. It is a partisan police. Pastor Suru is an executive member of the CDC. Where are we going as a country?
All right, Martin, let's bring MacCullay in. Let's bring MacCullay in. Let's bring MacCullay.
In my opinion, Mr. CA, President George Weah has transitioned from a Democrat to a black fascist. He's more than a dictator. He can be compared to Benito Mussolini of Italy.
All right, Martin, let's leave it there. Let's come to MacCullay. I don't think MacCullay will agree with you that much on that. Mr. Wleh, we are still on the issue of freedom, press, political assembly, freedom of speech. This government that you support, sometime back shut down the internet. But I think my question here is are you arguing here that it's because internet is so common now? Many people have cell phones now, and we are interacting more. So most of the things that were hidden have now come to limelight during Weah's administration. This is why it seems as though there's too much going on compared to the government of yesterday.
Yeah, let me say, actually the internet too has really transformed the world in a lot of positive ways. Facebook has done tremendously well in connecting people across the globe. And but if you come to look at, especially just a few years ago when they launched this Facebook Live stuff, which I think is a very good platform. But across the globe, including the US, sophisticated countries are finding it difficult with how people are abusing such platforms to spread our lies, misinformation, and all of these things. For example, like today, you will see Martin Kollie, you will see almost a lot of Liberians, some people who are not skilled in a certain field. Like even today, we are talking about COVID-19. I know of some Liberians that one popular female that always running her talk show. Initially, when the government announced it, I think first 1 or 2 cases, she wrote on her page that Liberia government lying, there's no coronavirus in the country because they want to steal money from the international partner. And I went and reading all the comments, and I see people there, yes, why do we call lie like that? I'm like, Jesus Christ, who are these people? But those are the people that give fame, they give popularity because they have the luxury to use such platforms and spew out all kinds of misinformation and disinformation, which is so unfortunate with no expertise or skills in that area. Look, my brother, it's easier to criticize in Liberian men. We are good in criticism historically. That's all we're good in. But today, give a Liberian man the opportunity, and see what will happen. We are just good in criticism. The brother he talked about, all these, look, everywhere around the globe, there's no perfection. The CDC-led government is not having any perfect record, but the CDC-led government is having a far better record than any government in Liberia history when it comes to political freedom, freedom of the press, freedom to assembly, all of these things. And the records are there. And our audience, I know today, they themselves, even if you don't love Weah, if you're in Liberia there, you yourself, you're a witness. Wake up in the morning, how many, by the time you want 10 years of voting at different radio stations, from station to station, from station to station, and the amount of freedom we see today in our country, unprecedented. And I'm excited for it. For me, I'm not working for government. I don't intend to work for government. Okay, but I feel excited for this kind of news when I hear about my country. We are doing well. Can we do better? Yes, we can do better. Will we strive to do better? Yes, we'll continue to strive to do better. If I talk about the MCC issue, look, MCC issue, yeah, from time to time these things happen, but just the other day, Liberia, got what, 18 million for the raw water pipeline right here. I think you followed that, right? Okay, which is funded by the MCC. So it's not like no, it's you have to pass 10 out of 20 indicators on the MCC issue. Okay, sometimes people they fall and they give them a chance to redeem themselves. All of the how it works, even the IMF program. When you qualify for the IMF program, yeah, sometimes you might falter in certain area, and then you can come back again depending on how you work towards teaching those things. Okay, but Liberia today, I don't even want it to be based on my opinion or Martin's opinion. I want it to be based on, especially our Liberians that are living in Liberia. Let them be very honest and objective today when we talk about press freedom. They will tell you, my brother, press freedom in Liberia is unprecedented, unlike any time in our country history. Everybody now knows the right, exercising the right in some way or form, which is good and healthy for our country. So that is not a debate to go on. I think we should be debating other things, but we come to that particular aspect. Look, the CDC have a very relaxed passing grade in that area.
All right. Mr. Wleh, thank you. Gentlemen, I want us to close on this segment and then move to the final segment, which is corruption. And we're going an hour and 30 minutes. We got 30. Yeah, final segment, because we got an hour and 30 minutes. The debate was planned for 2 hours. So let's close on this segment.
We can push it up.
2 hours enough, Martin. 2 hours enough. So, gentlemen, let's close on the issue of freedom of speech, press, and assembly. I think from all indication, we know that as a country, can we agree, as a country, we still have a lot to do? That's the question. Do we have a lot to do on the issue of freedom of speech and assembly, the press, and all that? Let's start with you.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right, then. Since we have an agreement, can we move to the final segment?
Certainly, but let me just make this point quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, quickly.
Yeah, I just want to clarify a few things. You know, all of those radio stations in the country,
mm-hmm.
they came on early. You know, 99.9% of those radio stations came on early, and they are still existing up to date. I just want to reference the case with the child who was killed mm-hmm. around number 7 on the mm-hmm. highway after the community assembled to call on the attention of the government relative to ritualistic killing in that area. You know, mm-hmm. I also want to talk about, to conclude, I just want to say to all Liberians listening that the CDC-led government again has failed relative to good governance. You see how President Weah is managing the affairs of the country, building properties almost everywhere, private properties, when the people do not even have food to eat. When the people decide to protest, he unleashed Turkish elements as well as state security to clamp down on them. Like I said, protest is a component of our democracy according to Article 17. So far, CDC has violated almost all of the local, regional, and international laws relative to good governance. Thank you very much, Mr. C.
Kollie, thank you. And Mr. Wleh, let's move to... Yeah, go ahead. 1 minute, too.
Yeah, quickly, too. You know, the brother keep trying to emphasize his point, which is not bad, but it does not change the fact. The fact for me that we need to still do better, because for us to do better means we need to provide more training for our security forces to know how to interact with people that are trying to exercise their right. Those things don't happen overnight. It takes time, and with time, it gets better. Obviously, since the civil crisis, it is the first time that Liberia is 100% responsible for our own security, unlike the past. Right now, so it's a lot of learning curve. It's a lot of adjustment that we'll be making along the way. But obviously, the realities remain there. People can see for themselves that today in Liberia, we have made progress. Should we be complacent? No. Should we work towards making more progress? Yes. And that is exactly what we're going to do as a people. And I encourage all those that are critics to continue to highlight things that are not right. That's the only way that we get better. Okay, it's a good thing to have people criticizing the government. And I embrace such. And that's the reason why you see me, I always take my time and come on these shows. Not that I don't have nothing to do, but it's just the fact that I want us to be able to discuss as Liberians. And, you know, and understand that we all love our country, but we disagree in the how, why, who, and when. And obviously, we can continue to have the discussion.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Wleh. Again, folks, in cyberspace, you are watching Focus on Liberia. And we are having a debate between Martin Kollie and Mr. MacCullay Wleh. We are moving to our final segment. This segment promises to be hotter and juicier. And so if you are here and you have not shared the show, we are getting started all over again on corruption. And this time we will let Martin Kollie to start. Martin, the subject of corruption is a hot-button subject. Every Liberian agrees that it is the devil in the room that undermines everything about Liberia. Education, you name it. The question is CDC cleaning the mess when it comes to corruption? Or is CDC fighting corruption? Is CDC winning the war on corruption? When the president came, he said that they were going to fight corruption. I don't remember his exact words. And Ellen Johnson Sylvie told us corruption was a vampire. And Liberian people look at that and say, hey, you call corruption a vampire, why can't you take corruption down? And so we want to change, and that change meant the CDC. How is the CDC doing? Cleaning the mess or creating more mess? Martin.
You know, Mr. C, I really admire your dexterity relative to posing questions to your guest, and thanks for this show so much, you know. But it is important to say that relative to accountability and transparency, relative to corruption, corruption has won the war against the CDC-led government for the past 2 years. You know, the CDC-led government said to us that there will be zero tolerance for corruption, zero tolerance for corruption. After 2 years, there is 100% tolerance for corruption on Mr. Weah. In fact, I want to just conclude, based on the facts I'm about to provide, that Mr. Weah is the most corrupt president since 1847. And the CDC-led government is more corrupt than all past governments combined. Those are my conclusions. And here are the facts to justify. You see, Mr. C, when President Weah came to power, Martin K. and Kollie, I wrote a communication to Mr. Weah. You know what was in that communication? I asked the president to declare his asset because the law provides that when the president is inaugurated, he should declare his asset before taking office, according to Section 10.1 of the 2014 Code of Conduct Law. The president came to power. The first stage of fighting corruption, Mr. C, is asset declaration. When new group of people come to power, they must declare their assets for the Liberian people to know what they had, so that when they become over 9 millionaires, we can be able to say, no. Before coming to power, you had 2 million. How come you are now having 200 million when your salary is 1,000 USD per month? So you see why asset declaration is important in the context of good governance? Mr. Weah refused to declare his asset until July 2020, after a major protest Martin Kollie led on July 26. I led a major protest on July 26. July 27, the president declared his assets. The intent of that protest was to compel President Weah to declare his assets in accordance with Section 10.1 of the 2014 Code of Conduct Law. And the next day, he declared his asset, quote unquote, because nobody even knows the net worth of his asset up to date. He claims to be a pro president. Why is that to have? Why are you hiding the net worth of the assets? We already knew in 2014 when President Weah was running for the office of senator, he declared his asset, 2 million. he had 2 million, a total of 2 million of his asset to the National Elections Commission. But look at the properties he's building all around Mr. C. Go to our highway, opposite the Baptist Seminary. Mr. Weah has dozens of luxurious units, duplexes. Go to 9th Street. He broke his property down in less than 6 months when he became president. Today, when you go to 9th Street, he is building a skyscraper going to the air, and he has an underground channel into the sea. How come, Mr. C? This man who claimed to us, who said to us that in 2014 he had a total of 2 million in terms of assets. But that is not the issue. I just want to outline a number of scandals under Mr. Weah to tell you that they have lost the war against corruption. Number one, the 16 billion scandal. As a result of another protest we had, I again led our protest. Bring back our money protest. We petitioned the international community to investigate the controversy around the 16 missing billion. Today we have the Crow report. When you go to the Crow report, the redacted version, because they didn't give the entire version. Had they done that, Mr. Weah would have been indicted directly. When you look at the redacted report of the Crow of the Crow investigation, you will notice that the two governments, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf-led government and the Weah-led government, have been indicted by the report. Go to the PRT report. The PRT report indicted the government for 25 million United States dollars that was withdrawn from the reserve of the country. And that 25 million was intended for mop-up exercise, to mop up excess liquidity of Liberian dollars on the market. Mr. Wleh, the head of the EMT, the Economic Management Team, was in charge of the 25 million. Today, there is no accountability. We've written a series of communications to Mr. Wleh to tell us who did he give the 25 million to. He said he gave to sour money exchangers. Who are the sour money exchangers? Can he provide a list? Since we wrote him such a letter, he hasn't provided a list of beneficiaries of the 25 million. Let us go to another scandal, the World Bank 3.2 million scandal involving the Ebola Emergency Response Fund. The government can now also account for that. The government can now also account for that, including laptops. Laptops where you had the statistics of Ebola or of Ebola crisis. Everything got missing. The World Bank requested the government to provide all of those assets. Up to date, they have it. Let us go to Donors Fund. You can remember last year, 9 foreign embassies and diplomatic missions wrote the government of Liberia to restitute that fund in the consolidated account. They took donors' money with all their permission. When the Minister of Information spoke to BOA, he said that was Diho Kawaho. How can you take donors' money? You talk about Diho Kawaho. You taking donors' money with all their permission or all their authorization. Then you justify saying it's Diho Kawaho. You took the money to pay civil servant. That donor money is supposed to pay civil servant. So 9 foreign embassies have to notify the government to restitute that fund. Let's go to the claim of ECOWAS in the UN. Immediately, that letter was communicated to by these embassies. ECOWAS and the United Nations held the government liable and responsible for misappropriation and misapplication, as well as fiscal indiscipline. But beyond this end, Mr. C, beyond this end, let me just conclude on this note.
Yeah, you're 5 minutes gone.
There are seven anti-corruption. There are 7 anti-corruption commissions.
Yeah, maybe you should save that, Martins, because I don't want to interrupt you. Save that. Yeah, save that anti-corruption.
I just want to tell you how they have cut the budgets. How they have cut the budgets or budgetary appropriation of these 7 anti-graft institutions. Are these people serious about fighting corruption? Go to the budget. Let us go to 2018.
And Martin, you want to have more time to go into that aspect? Yeah, thank you.
How can you cut the budget of accountability institution yet you claim to be fighting corruption? That's dishonesty and hypocrisy.
You will come to that, Martin. Let's come to Mr. Wleh. You lay a lot of things out there, and we want to give Mr. Wleh the opportunity to respond. Mr. Wleh, quickly, the issue of corruption, we all agree is the devil in the room. How is the CDC doing? Cleaning the mess? Are we making progress in this fight? Are you winning the fight, or CDC winning the fight?
Okay, with regards to corruption, I was still be waiting on Martin to come back and talk about the court he was trying to discuss on the transparency sector. because I really was surprised the last time he was on your show and he spewed out number. He said the government cut it back, I think 51%. I was like, does this guy know what 51% is? But I will be waiting for him. I hope he bring that same data again and for us to go through that. But let's go to the issue, my dear brother. The fact remains, fight against corruption. You will either have people who claim to be advocates, who are actually advocates, or who are political, or who are pro-government having different opinions, right? So it's about what I say, it's about what Martin say, it's about what somebody else in the civil society say. But let's look at a few things that any logical person can look at. Martin talked about the government withdrew $25 million. That is false. That is completely false, Martin. We got a reputable Crow report that audit was conducted and the government never withdrew $25 million. The government pronounced that they were going to infuse $25 million, but they never withdrew that amount. Okay. And in fact, the Crow report that you're referencing, it was very clear that the government got back from the market $2.3 billion Liberian dollars. That was about, I think, 15 million with the prevailing rate at the time, in terms of the amount that was withdrew and how they gave account of it. Crow report never stated that money was outrightly stolen. What Crow report said, I asked everybody, you know, sometimes people, we don't want to read this, but take your time. You know, Crow report stated clearly that, and they could not conclude on that particular 25 million exercise, and they were recommended to the government to conduct further report, which brought in that PRT report that Ellis Coffey and others were part of. Okay, and we all know what came up in the Ellis Coffey's report, right? They talk about, yes, the $2.3 billion and everything was accounted for, but they gave account of that money, but they had issues with what the central bank had on the paper versus what the listing of those companies. For example, some of the companies or some of the money changers that the central bank will, for example, now say, we gave 5,000 to those money changers. Said, no, I did not receive 5,000. There were the issues where, and then it was sent to LACC. But let us go to what, for example, you talk about corruption and all of those things. The first thing, this government have put in a lot of stringent fiscal policies, and they are, sorry, please put this thing on charge in that small. Sorry, my earpiece went off. You can still hear me?
Yes, we can still hear you loud and clear. Go ahead.
Okay, good. So let me come closer to my screen. So if you look at what has happened, right? This government, Martin was talking about the whole issue of what the government has done in terms of corruption, all of these things. But let me go to that point. If you look at today in Liberia, we qualify for the IMF program, right? That IMF program, there are prior actions that must be taken before you can qualify for the IMF program. You have to first meet the quantitative performance criteria. You got to meet the indicative targets, all of these things. You got to meet them before you qualify for that program. It means that you got to be willing to take certain fiscal action. For example, the whole issue what you are talking about, Dio Kawaho, we have been doing that Dio Kawaho long time, but it's a good no. But this government had the courage now, the president has come out and said, no way, we can never borrow from the central bank. We are going to live and eat what we have available. But that is how we've been doing it. But it's wrong. But the government has transitioned from that point. And my opinion might appear to be different.
After doing that for a little bit, right?
Oh, we have been doing it for years. I'm just telling you, it was just now.
Including the government change.
It was just brought up,
okay.
Right? But we've been doing it, and it's not right. And when the notice say what the government did, the president will say, oh, no, but we can't be doing this. Let's use only what we have. And the reason why people do DO call, let me just quickly explain that part to some people they don't understand. For example, see, if you see Liberia pass a budget to say our budget is 500 million, that 500 million is not a budget, it's not money that we have readily available. The fiscal year starts in, I think, on July 1st or so, if I'm getting my memory right. And that fiscal year, when it starts, for example, you have to start paying, once the budget is passed, you got to start paying people based on that current fiscal budget, right? But for example, there are some months in Liberia, like I said, I stay long in the clearing and forwarding field in Liberia. There are some months in Liberia that we collect more taxes than other months. So for example, if you have a month like around January or February that government normally collect less taxes, and you have to meet up with government recurring expenditure like paying salary, all of those things. And government, so to spend, for example, on pay, government so to spend maybe 24 million or 22 million per month. And that particular month comes and it raises less revenue.
Yeah, Mr. Wleh, your time is gone, but I will give you additional minute. And what I want you to do is, Mountain raised a lot of scandals, questions, that were, issues that were reported in the media about corruption, and is there a possibility you can respond to those?
Like I thought I started my whole stuff with talking about the Crow report and those things, but he talked about, you want me to go run beyond Mountain talking about, oh, George Weah being on a Grand Tunnel going to sea and all those kind. No, those are not things that are going to run beyond.
Why you don't want to talk about them? Is it because of what?
Listen, like I said, the whole Facebook thing, the best way to get fame is to be sensational, is to have less regard for truth and just go and just talk all kinds of things and play on the emotions and gullibility of our society. So I'm not going to run that route to be careful. Oh, George Weah bias, if George Weah did the George Weah. No, I'm going to go to the substance. The first year, our current budget, if anybody like Martin, who is a student of economics, will understand that how much room do we have for some of these things that they are talking about in our current budgetary space, when the government is even struggling to meet up with even some of the things that we made allotment for. Then you talk about people stealing the old people, all kinds of things I can hear. Oh, the other person take their money from the place. I'm not going to jump into that. I'm just telling you that, for example, here you are fully aware that the government will qualify for the IMF program. Do you know what the IMF program requires, right? It means that the IMF is not just going to sit and give our government our money. The IMF is going to help to what? Manage that, our fiscal space and how we expend our money. So are you telling me that the IMF is conniving with the Liberian government to do these things? The IMF gave the first money the other month, right? We saw it. We're going to see, they will come out with a report, because that money that the 200 and some more million that they approved for us is going to come in phases. They gave the first one, they're going to see how we are enforcing the program before the next one will come. How we see we enforce it before the next one come. And we're going to see it. If the government is corrupt, if the government is all the negative things that people want you to believe, it's going to come on in our report. Okay. But if the government were not making strides in those areas, the first thing I want you to understand, we were not going to qualify for that program, because there are prayer actions that must be taken before you qualify. So people can go ahead and get on their page and just talk all the things that are sensational, and more people will follow. I look at it like, for example, look at your shows here. You always bring people to come and debate issue based on facts. But today, you will see very few Liberians following you. But I know some other show them where people are just there specializing, causing bad costs. They will have thousands of followers. It tells you about our society. It tells you the country and people we are. So I know a lot of people want film and will continue to go on this Facebook and different platforms and say all kinds of things that will catch people's attention and people will buy into it.
That is true, Mr. Wleh. Thank you, Dad. That is a very good point. Man said, have been thinking about that. Later, before I was, before we could come live, I saw Prophet Key was live. Prophet Key was talking. He was raining insults, and he had 1,000 Liberians listening to that garbage.
Oh, yeah.
What does it add to their life? But this is a substantive debate where people can have the opportunity to hear both sides on the issue. Liberians are not here. They want to go listen to somebody cursing somebody's father. How does that help you improve your life? Hey, that is not why we are here. We are here to debate the issues that affect our country. Mountain, you just listened to Mr. Wleh. Your rebuttal.
Quite frankly, let me just disillusion or demystify some of the myths he presented to the audience. He's talking about IMF program. The program he's talking about, he doesn't even know the program. The program is called Extended Credit Facility, the ECF of the IMF. And what's the eligibility criteria? Who told you corruption is an eligibility criteria? Now let me tell you the eligibility criteria. The eligibility criteria for you must be a PRGT, right? You must be a poor country, poor in that category if you want to receive the ECF of the IMF. It has got nothing to do with whether you are transparent, whether you are accountable. No. So long you have a balance of payment problem, it has got to do with balance of payment. That is when the IMF comes in to intervene. When your balance of payment or your balance of trade is always in negative for a protracted period, then you can apply for the ECF program of the IMF. He doesn't even know he's talking about accountability, transparency. He needs to read from the IMF website. Let me just give the link, imf.org/en/about/fact-sheet 2016/2008. Now he needs to read that. He doesn't even know the parameter of the program. Yeah, he wants to talk. So let us go to the next thing, Mr. C. Another thing I want to identify, he talked about the 25 million. He didn't say the source of the 25 million. I said the source of the 25 million is from our reserve, our net foreign reserve. The 25 million was taken from. He didn't tell us whether Wleh has accounted for that money. The money was given to Wleh and the EMT, the economic management team, to mop up excess liquidity of Liberian dollars from the market. How far is that process? Up to now, there is no accountability. You know how many civil society actors have requested Mr. Wleh to account? Up to date, there is no list of beneficiaries. And another thing I also want to talk about, he talked about the budget. He said how much money in the budget for President Weah to take and build his property. This President Weah now building a skyscraper on 9th Street. After this program, I'm going to post the photo. He's building a skyscraper. The cost of President Weah's home that was on 9th Street, I'm giving you facts. The cost of President Weah's home on 9th Street before he came to power, 150,000 was the cost of his home. It was dilapidated. Dilapidated. He came to power, broke down our property, and today he has a skyscraper going in the sky. Is that not fact? Is that not fact? Now, let us go to the next issue. He said, no money in the budget. So the president can't take the money to pay property. He doesn't understand that there are on-budget supports and off-budget supports in the context of economics. Now, all of the money the government receives to be placed in the budget, he needs to understand it. There are off-budget supports. There are off-budget expenditure, off-budget revenue. These revenues are not placed directly in the budget. They are outside of the budget. You listen to Mwaba Molu's leak audio. What did he say? He accused his own president, his own political leader, Mwaba Molu said, the president goes out, solicits money in the interest of the country and diverts to his personal account. Didn't MacCullay listen to that leak audio, Mr. Sear? Didn't MacCullay listen to that leak audio? Another audio I played on my podcast yesterday from one Sheikh. Sheikh is a former employee of the NSA, accusing Mr. Weah of soliciting money for his campaign in 2017 from Russian billionaires or Russian millionaires. Today, they are asking him to account for over 2.2 million. The audio is on Facebook. The audio is on Facebook. Beyond that, what has this government done in the direction of empowering anti-graft institutions to fight corruption? I just want to name the 7 anti-graft institutions. The brother doesn't even know which institution in Liberia are responsible to fight corruption. Number 1, the LACC, Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission. Number 2, the General Auditing Commission. Number 3, the Public Procurement Concession Commission. Number 4, you're talking about the Internal Audit Authority. Number 5, you have Liberia Extractive Industrial Transparency Initiative. Number 6, the Financial Intelligence Unit. And number 7, the Good Governance Commission. These are statutory institutions under the laws of Liberia that have been charged with the responsibility to fight corruption, public malfeasance, as well as economic sabotage. Today, under Mr. Weah, are you aware that the budgetary appropriations of these institutions have been cut? Let's move to 2018-2019 approved budget under President Weah. Let's compare his budget, his first budget when he came to power, with the last budget of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Let's do a comparative analysis relative to the accountability and transparency sector. Now, under Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, this is the file I want to provide. And after this, I will post the screenshot because he said he wanted to challenge this file. I challenge him. Let's go to the 2018-2019 budget under the accountability and transparency sector. Under Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, this sector received 49.2 million. The Transparency and Accountability Sector Honor Ellen Johnson Sirleaf for last budget, before President Weah could take over, 49.2 million to fight corruption. Honor Mr. Weah, 2018-2019 budget approved. The amount used to fight corruption, 21 point. Honor Mr. Weah is 21.2 million, right? Honor Mr. Weah. So the amount reduced by 51%. Amount used to fight corruption reduced by 51% when Mr. Weah came into power. Is he really serious about fighting corruption? Look at the budget of the LACC, the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, 2 million. The budget was cut down to 2 million. Look at the budget of the GAC, 5.4 million. The budget of PPCC, 1.1 million. The budget of RAA, 4.2 million. The budget of Wleh, $380,951. The budget of the Financial Intelligence Unit, $577,044. Good Governance Commission, 1.7 million. Go to the 2018-2019 approved budget. I'm talking about the approved budget, and I'm going to post the link for the audience to also follow up on these files. So what I'm saying is that when the government, in fact, are you aware that almost 90% of its officials are yet to declare their assets? Assets declaration is the foundation for fighting corruption. But it will interest you to know even Mr. Weah himself, who claims to be a pro-poor president, is yet to declare his asset. Mr. Weah comes to power and decides to give his wife, Madam Clara Weah, 2 million of our money as budgetary appropriation. Since 1847, this has never happened. No first lady ever, never in the history of Liberia has received a dime from our national. But this is he's receiving 3 million, almost 3 million. So he's talking about 5 million, two persons, the officers of these people. While Liberians are suffering, while Liberians do not have food to eat, while Liberians do not have better livelihood, access to electricity, access to better health care, access to quality education, and other basic social utilities and services. So what I'm saying, Mr. Sear, what I'm saying, considering the fact that we have all of these scandals, he talked about PRT. Go to the PRT report. The PRT report is very clear. Go to the Crow report. There were discrepancies. Both reports said there were inconsistencies and discrepancies, as well as fiscal indiscipline and some level of misappropriation. Go to those reports. Why is he not reading these reports?
Thank you, Martin.
Mr. Sear,
please.
I just want to outline 8 scandals under Mr. Weah that point to corruption.
No, keep that. Keep that. Keep that. You're gone 2 minutes above. Keep that. I'll come back to you. Yeah, keep that, Martin. Martin, hold that, please.
Of the World Bank.
Martin, hold that, please. Hold that. We'll come back to you. You're gone 2 minutes above your allotted time. Again, folks, in cyberspace, you are watching Focus on Liberia. My name is Anthony Sear, hosting this debate. Right now, as we speak, those of you who are following us here at Facebook, I share a link. Look at the Focus on Liberia logo. There is a link. Go to that link and vote your debate winner. Again, those of you who are following us here at Facebook, you are about 242 that I see from my end. All right. I want to get about 242 responses. Please, there's a link that I continue to share repeatedly. So look at the Focus on Liberia logo. Click on that link and vote your winner. Again, those of you who are listening to us, go to the link that I continue to share repeatedly from the Focus on Liberia logo and vote your winner for this debate based on performance, especially on the 3 categories they are right there within the link. So start voting now, because very soon we will be going to the end of the debate. Mr. Wleh, I needed to announce that just so they the viewers can be able to rate you guys' performance. We are doing this just so that we can understand what's going on in our country. It is not more about who wins. So let's come to you, Mr. Wleh, quickly. Martin's emphasis was on the anti-graft institutions, and you said that at some point he said that the budget was reduced by 50% or so. And he went there again to say that the institutions are not performing. They are not up to the task. If I can paraphrase or give a summary of what he said. Where you stand?
Yes, yeah. again, like I said, it's easily it's a sellable thing to come out here and just talk like the way these guys do. And it sounds good. It attracts people's ears because by nature, human being, we used to negatives, right? We love to hear negative things. But what if facts? You know, you're talking about, oh, the guy does not even know the IMF program. What's the name of it? Oh, because it's an IMF program. If I don't say, oh, external credit facility, I don't know the name of it. But again, like I said, you know, those are the pettiness, so-called intellectualism that they believe in. And, you know, he's talking about, oh, the guy doesn't know the institution responsible for fighting corruption in government. Come on, Martin. I don't even know if you know the person you're talking to that you make those kind of a childish utterances and accusations. Okay. You want me to be like you and come and be calling all the institution names like you're doing? It's very easy. You read it from a paper calling institution and you call it, even like go to the budget aspect. Again, Martin, I don't know how you do your economics, because economics, to be successful in economics, you got to be at least good in math to some extent. But instead, the government reduced by 51% the budget of the transparency sector. You know what I mean? It means that the government cut almost about half of the workforce in those areas. Because a lot of those sectors, a huge portion of the budget in the first place goes towards payroll or paper buying or recurring expenditure and those kinds of things. So 51% reduction, I don't even think you have a clue in what you're saying. But I want everybody listening to all. I want, thank God with technology now, you can access the Liberia, go to the Executive Mansion website, find Ministry of Finance, you'll find the Liberia national budget for this period. In fact, the transparency sector, right? The budget of the transparency sector when early last budget, 2017-2018, was 20 million. Okay, the current budget is 19 million plus. They have because and that particular reduction mostly came from the whole issue of the harmonization, right? Because people pay and all the things, so it was harmonized. Okay, but in fact, in terms of the entire sector, if you go from even like some of them, like GSC here, General Auditing Commission, Ellen last budget and Weah first budget, you will see there was almost like over $500,000 increase. So I don't know what budget is Martin reading, but again, Martin will get an own alternate universe that they source information from. I'm just encouraging our audience. Don't take MacCullay word for it. Please, just go to Executive Mansion Liberia, or even if you Google it, it will pop up. Liberia National Budget for 2019-2020. It will show you from 2017 up to 2019-2020. Okay. And what else? You know, he spilled out a lot of things down there. Okay. You talk about 12 bank made to pay for the 25 million. Again, that's sensationalism. You're trying to play on people. You're trying to be sensational. Because the truth is, look, if you understand how government or governance should be like, the first thing, we have what the Ministry of Finance. We have the Central Bank of Liberia. The Ministry of Finance takes care of the fiscal part of government. The Central Bank take care of our monetary policy. What happened with 25 million? The president set up a committee comprises of those relevant entities represented by the heads. The Ministry of Finance came, the Central Bank came, and all of those people came together to find a way why we were having the inflation running like the way it was running. Okay. When it came to what in fact, the president, so now even twice should be mentioned, I said the president, because the president was the one, the initial statement getting there and setting up that committee said he's going to infuse $25 million in the economy, which of course, Martin, again, if you go to the Central Bank website, it will tell you, go to Crow report, it tells you clearly, Liberia, Crow said it clearly, Liberia did not withdraw 25 million from our accounts with the Federal Reserve in America yet. Go back there and read that report. You talk about, oh, why the guy don't make research? Look, I read a lot. Okay, to do what I do for survival, you have to be a very studious person in the first place. Okay, but that goes to what the realities are. Where being a finance minister, where you had this committee, the economic management in the EMT, and they bring the central bank guys. Those people are giving a mandate. the finance ministry took a president mandate. The finance minister said the best way I see this thing, which economy is a social science, it's not an exact science. People have different ways, methodology they employ to solve economic issues. They said we have to go outside the formal sector because we are dealing with the formal sector and still it's not working. So maybe we need to go in the community, we need to go to the money children and stuff. What's the best policy is debatable because our economy is not an exact science. Okay. But what happened with the central bank, which a report, again, go to the current report, the central bank, the armed response, central bank officials, they're the one who are dealing with the Forex Bureau. But I know you and a lot of people are not interested in what the facts is, or what the facts are, rather, and you are just there to play on emotion. The Ministry of Finance was not the one, or is not responsible for the monetary aspect of disbursement. If you want us to talk about the yes, if you're talking about why the central bank cannot get an account, this and that, yeah, there was others done. And it's clearly stated those who are responsible, those who interacted with those facilities. But again, you're trying to be political and play on the emotion of people. So forget about all the chatting. Oh, the men don't know this thing, you know that thing.
Mr. Wleh?
Assume that I don't know these things, that does not mean I work, maybe I don't know, when I work with the legislature, I was there several times. The GST, you're talking about, all of these things you're talking about. I am very aware, but I was just speaking to the fact that you are misinforming the people to make a false claim that the government reduced the transparency sector budget by 51%. Look, anybody, you don't have to agree with me. 51%, you know what it means? You know what I mean? 51%. If you talk about you got 100 million, they reduce it by 51%, that's 51 million taken away right there, you get 49 million. It means
thank you, Mr. Wleh.
We have the job. And we are not all anything of people being fired or losing a job.
Let me just.
Mr. Wleh, can you hear me? All right,
yes.
Hold on. Let me do something, Martin, quickly. To those of you following us, hold on, Martin. Those of you following us here at Facebook, not a single person has voted. I continue to share the link with the Focus on Liberia logo. All of you, some people saying this person won, that person, the one you're writing, this person won, we're not taking it. There's a link. If you click on that link, there's a pool there. You vote, then we will get the result. I'm looking at the result here. Not a single person has voted. And if it's still like that, there will not be a winner in this debate. And so those of you who are, following the broadcast, please, the link, when you see the Focus on Liberia logo, the link is there. Tap on that link and vote. As you vote, the result will populate on my screen here. I will see it. But not a single person has voted. Everybody saying this person won, this person won. No, we're not going to count that. You have to tap on the link that I share with the Focus on Liberia. All right? Click on that link and vote. That is the result we're going to take. I just wanted to make that clear. I'm still watching here. Not a single person has voted. The debate may not have winner to be announced officially by Focus on Liberia. Martin, quickly.
Yes, quickly. I know my time over, but I just get a point.
Thank you very much, Mr. Steele. Thank you very much, Mr. Steele.
I want you to show it to the people.
All right. Go ahead, Martin.
The brother tried to link the corrupt behavior of Samuel 12 to economics as a social science. He doesn't even know when you say economics as a social science, you are talking about using scientific methods to build theories that can help explain human behavior. That is the meaning when you talk about economics, it's the social science. It doesn't mean you cannot use scientific methods. So yes, again, 12 is yet to account for the US 25 million that was withdrawn from our net foreign reserve. The second thing I want to deal with, he's talking about the budget. You know what kind of budget he's making reference to? It's the draft budget. 2019, 2020, what is available in the public space is the draft budget, not the proofs. But I'm talking about when the CDC came to power. And I want to state clearly, I just posted a link. The public can have access to the link. I just posted a link on your page. 2018, 2019 approved national budget under the CDC-led government. Let us go to preface 1.3. Preface 1.3 of the approved budget. Figure number 2, expenditure component by major classification. Now, let us go to section 4.3, transparency and accountability sector. I'm just going to read what they have at this 4.3. Transparency and accountability sector. The appropriation for the transparency and accountability sector for 2018-2019 budget is 21.9 million. Are you listening to this?
I'm paying attention.
21.9 million. 21.9 million constituting 4% of the total revenue envelope of Liberia. This reflects a 51% decrease. 51% decrease compared to the sector's budget last fiscal year, which was 44.9 billion on Ellen Johnson. So do your calculation. I'm a student of economics. Do your calculation. What is the percentage? What is the percentage of 21%? 21.9 million is 1% of 44.9 million. It's 51% deduction, reduction, or decline. What is he talking about there? He needs to read the approved budget. What he is using is the draft national budget, not the approved. I have that in my possession as well. I'm going to put the link. I'm talking about 2018-2019 approved national budget, not draft. Go to preface number 1.3, section 4.3, transparency and accountability. What is he talking about? Transparency and accountability sector accounts for just 4% of the overall budget or fiscal envelope. And when you go further to analyze, on Ellen, you have 44.9 million directed to this sector. On Weah, 21.9 million. Those listening can do their calculation. You're talking about 51% decline or reduction. What is he talking about, Mr. Sear? So I'm saying to you that under the CDC-led government, what has been happening is not only mind-boggling, but it's pathetic. President Weah is even spending outside of the budget, off-budget support, off-budget spending. That's what he's doing. That's why the budget is being affected. You know, every small money that is raised from LRA, President Weah spends. He goes here, there, and younger, making promises that are not even captured in the national budget of the country, which is the fiscal plan of the country. So I'm saying that in terms of even budget management, fiscal discipline, the government has performed poorly. What are those fiscal policies? What are those contractionary fiscal policies they have put in place? What are those policies they have put in place to jumpstart the economy? Right? What are those policies? They can point to those policies they have put in place even. All President Weah cares about to build his properties, to build his condominiums. Nathaniel McGill the same. Samuel Twere, are you aware that Samuel Twere has just completed a compound in Bainstown, Marshall? All of them are building compounds. People who could not even afford money to rent a single room. All of them have big compounds. Nathaniel McGill has compound. Samuel Twere has compound. President Weah has an estate. His wife is also building her private property in Marshall. So are you seeing where we are going? The appetite for wealth under CDC is very high, including the appetite of the president. So what I was saying before you cut me off, I just want to name 8 scandals under CDC, justifying why it is the most corrupt government or why it is more corrupt than all past regimes combined. Now, let us go to, everyone is aware already about the 16 billion scandal. Everyone is aware about the 25 million scandal. Everyone is aware about the measure of our net foreign reserve. And I forgot to say this, another information. When President Weah came to power, our net foreign reserve was hovering around 152 million. President Salif left in the net foreign reserve 152 million. Go and check Central Bank report 2018. 2018 Central Bank economic outlook. Go and check it. 152 million, our net foreign reserve before President Salif could leave. After 8 months, our net foreign reserve came down to 21 million. How come? How come? There is no explanation for this as well. Let us go to the NHA scandal. The National Housing Authority scandal is another scandal to reference under President Weah. Look at the case involving Ellen Kokum. Ellen Kokum stole our money more than 500,000, more than 500,000. She ran to the states. Right? Weah came into power. They called her back and lifted charges. Can you imagine? Lifted charges of economic sabotage and fraud. Is this government serious about fighting corruption? Look at the gas scandal. The latest gas scandal, Mr. C. So there are scandals almost everywhere under Mr. Weah. I need not to tell you how corrupt this government is. The government is more corrupt than all past governments combined. And these are facts to justify. Look around you. It is because of corruption. Health workers are protesting. It is because of corruption. Albinos in the country are protesting. Students are protesting. Marketers are protesting. Because of the poor management of public resources. That's why you are having all of these protests.
All right,
if there were transparency and accountability in the country, there would have been equitable distribution of the country's wealth. Unfortunately, a few group of political elites are misusing, mismanaging the resources of the country. Hence, corruption has been entrenched in public service under Mr. Weah.
Thank you.
And the last thing I want to say, Mr. Smith.
Yeah. Yeah, you will make that in your concluding statement, gentlemen. We passed 2 hours 18 minutes.
Yeah, but he started the sector, so I got
I'm coming to you, Mr. Wleh. It's your turn. So to speak, and then we will close. So you go ahead, Mr. Wleh.
So you see, that's the reason why I tell people like what's his name, Martin. They are dangerous to our country. To be honest,
Martin is dangerous.
Yeah, let me tell you why. You see, misinformation is a very dangerous thing. When people get out there and they spread misinformation, it causes chaos. And that is the reason why a lot of these guys that get out there and just spread out misinformation, information that they don't even understand. You know, I love the way he tried to be, to exert himself academically. You know, I know probably appeal to small-minded people, but the reality remains not about how you try to exert yourself. It's about the reality of what exists. You know what a guy referencing? And I want you, for the sake of our audience and this show, to please go to the link that he said he sent you. That's what people see. That these guys, they don't even read comprehensively. Show it on the screen. That's what people see just for the debate. At least so we can close on that. The budget, he just go to the lump sum aspect of the transparency sector in the budget, the approved budget that he referencing, and say we're earning level of 44 million plus CDC China 20. You know what you're talking about? Because of the National Elections Commission. See, I am appealing to you. Please go to that link he sent you and display it, let our audience see it. The draft you're talking about, look at all of the entities that fall under that transparency sector and see if you see anything that resembles even 5% reduction before Martin's 51% claim. I beg you, please show it to our audience here. It's right there. It is because the National Elections Commission was early that 2017 was an election year. So they allotted 23 million plus for the National Elections Commission for that period, right? Okay. And now because the National Elections Commission is not capturing that amount, so that's why he referencing all of those sectors. Because the NEC falls under that sector when you go to the general budget. But I am appealing to you here. I don't want this to be my voice or my war versus Martin's war. I just want you to show it to the
Mr.
public. Let us see it. And
Mr.
let us close on that note so they can know who believes in the facts. Please.
Mr. Wleh, I can't show it because of technical
difficulty.
Yeah.
You posted draft budget to the people you can't tell about approved budget.
Right. All right, gentlemen, we have to close. We're gone 2 hours, 20 minutes now. I will take your parting statement. We can't talk Liberia in one day, gentlemen. 2 hours is more than enough to get something out there. Yeah, please. We can't talk all one day. And so, folks in cyberspace, I know many of you saying you can't see the link. I have shared that link more than 60 times. I don't know why you can't see it. Sorry, I don't know what else to do for you to see the link. But we have to close, and gentlemen, it has been a very, very hot and juicy debate. It seems to be the both of you came prepared with numbers, and you made references. But hey, the audience will decide who the winner. I'm not the one. I try to put something in place, you know, to make it fair or fairer. But they are complaining that they can't see the link, and I can't do anything other than share it. I share it. I've seen it more than 60 times. So, folks, we have to conclude here, and let's start with you. Martin, you are upside down. What's going on there? Let's come to you, Mr. Wleh. You want to close?
Yes, yeah, I will close on this. You know, I really hope that we could be doing justice to our audience by at least So because people come, it's look, like I said, you yourself you acknowledge that. You listen to that. I don't really know to call that fellow name, but you listen to a show and you were cursing and you saw thousands of people online.
Right.
That tells you about our society, right? But also look at it again. Martin will come, they will go, they will just call big number. They just say outrageous things. Things that people in the country, people are catching hard time. People are going through difficult times. And some of us are abroad. We have to be supporting our people down there all the time. So we all get emotional when we hear, oh, the other person stole 25 million, the other person stole, the other person did that. Those emotional things. Everybody can easily fall attracted to emotional stories. But what the realities are, and I really was praying that you were going to do justice to our audience by showing the approved budget from the executive mansion website. Martin claimed, my people, that 51% deduction in a transparency fight is a complete misleading information. Go to the GSC, go to the LSTC, go to LATI, go to FIU, go to all of the agencies, including the procurement, all of the agencies responsible. That false claim he's making is because we had the National Elections Commission that were allotted over 23 million. Okay, now the Elections Commission was not allotted that amount, but it was not a reduction of 51% to those sectors. So please go and verify that false information the guy is giving you. In closing, I want to say thank you to all of those that have taken out their time, the business schedule in Liberia, in America, around the world, to listen to us. Liberians, let us continue to engage each other intellectually. Let us discuss the issue. There are a lot of people out there who are discussing the issues, but I beg you, sometimes when you hear these things, just calm your emotion down and do a little fact findings. And when you do those fact findings, you realize that not all that glitters is gold. Not all. I beg you. And our people, please again, finally follow the health experts during the COVID crisis. Don't follow the political or doctors and stuff like that. Don't follow the naysayers. Don't follow all the fake news out there. I know it's coming. I've been listening to some of our popular podcasters making all kinds of claims during the COVID situation. Please, for once, if you're not listening to any other thing, but just follow the expert during a very critical period in our history and the global history. Eventually, God will help us through it and we'll come out victorious as always. Liberia has been through so much and we have always remained resolute. But please pay attention to facts. Don't follow the sensation. Don't follow the emotional stories. Thank you.
Mr. Wleh there giving his closing statement. Here I focus on Liberia. Mr. MacCullay, we want to say thank you. We all know how time is very, very important, more so to those of us that live here in the United States, and for you to always be more than willing to come here and discuss the issue. We know in most government is always on the defense against the opposition, and for you to be able to muster the courage as always to come here to have a conversation, and speak more so to your love for the country and that you want us to debate this issue so that we can all give a much better understanding. There's no way we can thank you enough for what you do. I mean, if others don't see it, yeah, you are on. Now. Yeah, if others don't see it, I see it, and I'm sure many people see it too, because there are many people who support this government who would rather just go on Facebook and sing and not come to the issue to debate, because they know that either the media war is against the government, and so they don't want to come and debate. And so we appreciate you for what you do. Yeah, and let's come to you, Mr. Kollie, your closing statement. And stay here. The people got the link now, and they stay here. MacCullay, the people got the link now. They are voting, and will announce the results. So close, Martin, and you have 2 minutes, and to close.
Thank you, Mr. C. I want to say thanks to you and your team from Focus on Liberia for the great job. I also want to say thanks to MacCullay, you know, a die-hard pro-Weah publicist, you know, who isn't armed with facts and truth-telling. It is sad. I hope you'll bring a stronger person next time, not a weekly. I also want to say thanks to the audience. for following this live debate between MacCullay and I. But basically, let me conclude on a few notes. Again, I want to re-emphasize my initial position that the CDC-led government for the past 2 years has failed miserably in almost every sector of governance in Liberia. And the evidence are preponderance to prove, Mr. C. Go to the public administration sector of the country, the CDC has failed. And I provided some of the indicators. Go to the transparency and accountability sector. The judiciary system is corrupt. The legislature is rubber stamp. The executive is domineering. The facts are there. President Weah is violating almost all of our laws, including the very constitution that he told go to protect. Go to the security sector. Security apparatuses are not being empowered and capacitated. Personnel of the police, personnel of the armed forces of Liberia, immigration service, and so forth are not getting paid on time. Go to the education sector. It is more than a mess, right? It is more than a mess. It's messier under President Weah. Do you know how many schools around, how many universities are yet to even receive their budgetary appropriations since last fiscal year, including the University of Liberia? Go to the health sector. Just a few months ago, health workers were protesting. Pregnant women were protesting. Vulnerable groups, minorities, including persons with disabilities, were protesting because of the inability of this government to seek their welfare. Let's go to the energy sector, energy and environment sector. See how the CDC-led government is managing this sector. Look at the agriculture sector, for example. They are violating the 2003 Maputo Declaration, which says each African government must appropriate at least 10% of its national budget to agriculture. The amount government is managing the sector. Look at the agriculture sector, for example. They are violating the 20.
Somebody, one of you might be playing there, and you need to stop. All right, go ahead,
MacCullay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, from the energy sector to the agriculture sector, like I was saying, the government should be appropriating at least 10% of our national budget to agriculture in order to promote food security, in order to promote agroeconomic productivity, so that more citizens can have jobs, so that we increase market capitalization, so that we increase the revenue base of the government and so forth. But they are just appropriating less than 1.5% of our national budget to agriculture, which is a violation of the Maputo Declaration. Look at infrastructure and basic services. Where are the 7 stadiums President Weah said he would build? Where are they? He said he would build 7 stadiums. He hasn't started with 1. He talked about coastal highway. Where's the coastal highway? He talked about a city on Bali Island. Where's the city? He talked about establishing an agriculture bank. Where's the agriculture bank? He talked about 6,000 Nigerian teachers coming to the country to empower local teachers. Where are they? Even the budget of teacher training centers are being cut down under President Weah.
Yeah, Martin, you have to stop there. You have 2 minutes to close and make sure.
Let me conclude in 30 seconds. Mr. C. I appeal.
Please.
So on this note, Mr. C, next time if you want to invite me to a debate, please do not invite a weakling who is not armed with the information. This is my only plea to your platform. Please do not invite a weakling who does not believe in truth-telling. He's telling the Liberian people about draft budget. I'm telling the Liberian people about approved budget. He needs to read further and do his research properly. It is unfortunate that a pro-Weah publicist in MacCullay who come to a debate unarmed, intellectually weak. It is sad, MacCullay.
All right, that 30 seconds have expired, and we want to say thank you, Martin, for always honoring our invitation here, focus on Liberia. Just like we said to Mr. Wleh, not many persons are prepared to come to intellectual debate of this kind. Some people would rather be on their podcast and just sing their own music, and then find those who can dance that music. But here I focus on Liberia. We challenge those who want to discuss the issue. And for you to be able to accept the challenge, we want to say thank you. And this is not your first time. And this would not be our first or last time in reaching out to you to discuss the things that matters to our people. All right, gentlemen, we are going to the numbers. And again, sorry, those of you in cyberspace, I'm an honest man. the system has frozen, so there's no way for me to share the result on the screen for everybody to see. So far, as we speak, 149 people voted. Of the 149 people that voted, we had 77.6% for Martin Kollie and 22.4% for Mr. MacCullay Wleh. Based on the number, Mr. Martin Kollie has won this debate, and I'm sure that people will continue to vote. And at the end of the show, this result here will be posted on our Focus on Liberia page for everybody to see the numbers. Right now, it's gone to 150 people who have voted. So there's a little change in the number, 22.4% for Mr. MacCullay Wleh and 77.6% for Mr. Martin Kollie. Martin has won the debate. Martin, we don't want you to celebrate because I want to believe that, the political dynamic. The political dynamic
belongs to our people in the slum and ghettos.
It seems to be the political dynamics is in your favor. And so you have won the debate here at Focus on Liberia. We want to congratulate you on your victory. We also want to congratulate Mr. MacCullay Wleh, who, knowing that he was coming into a territory, as the underdog, but still mustered the courage to come and fight, for the soul of our country, Liberia, on the issues. He didn't come here because he was here to say, oh, I'm going to win. But MacCullay Wleh put a victory the other time. So, all right. So at this time, we'll give Mr. Wleh the opportunity to concede. Mr. Wleh.
Yeah. Again, thank you for this opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know your last statement when you say as an underdog. I don't know in what sense. I hope you can clarify that and I can conclude.
All right. I'm sorry. Poor choice of word there. So let's leave it at that. Thank you. Sorry for that. I put that back. You're not the underdog.
No, I wish you could read it. I'm not emotional about it, but I just want to, maybe it's based on a specific reason. For example, I'm not a podcaster. You guys are in the podcasting business. So it could be from that background.
And it's from that background. Martin is on Facebook. He got a lot of followers. And not many people know you on Facebook. So this thing is about who know you and more so about the issues and people that follow you. Okay.
It's based on the issue.
And so it was on that basis I said that. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, it was good to put because that is where I look at it from, but I just needed that clarity. And thank you for providing the clarity.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, thank you to the Focus on Liberia family. Though, unfortunately, you said we're going to delve into other sectors like education and health. And so all of the great things that have been done in those sectors, unfortunately, I couldn't speak to them because we focus on just this few sectors that we discuss about. But again, I want to say to the young man, continue to do what you do. It is a good thing to be engaged as a citizen. We all might not agree in the strategy, the methodology, and how people go about these things. But obviously, when I was told that there will be a voting process, I knew for sure I was not going to win that process. And the reason is very simple. I said it from the beginning. Yeah. I said it from the beginning that the government has lost the public.
But the other day you won, MacCullay.
Yeah, because I was not the public voting. We brought experts who are to being a judge. That's what I'm saying now. Because for this one, look, Martin, before the debate started, I had people already on the page attacking me. So I knew yeah, people not even giving a chance to hear where I stay here with the government, but they started attacking me.
Yeah.
So,
well, you could change your mind.
It's a beautiful thing that we all, I don't care how we disagree with each other, let us continue on this.
Yeah.
Democracy got its own advantages and disadvantages.
Right.
But once we can be mature, we can be respectful, we can be better in communication and have these conversations, it makes our country better. I know that I love Liberia. I know Martin loves Liberia. I know CA and the entire focus of family, Liberia family loves Liberia. And we all just have different ways that we see things. So thank you very much again for this opportunity. Next time, I'm available to tell people the realities of things that are happening in the agricultural sector, the educational sector, the health sector. And you know, there are a lot of things, positive things that I just wanted to highlight, but I'm sure maybe in the future we have the opportunity to highlight the positive things.
Thank you, Mr. MacCullay Wleh, you know, for the civility, the maturity, and the demonstration of the best, you know, that you have in you with respect to our democratic principles. And that's how it should be when you come to a debate, you know, whether it's a judge, whether the audience say you did not win, you concede, you congratulate your opponent, and this is how it should be. I'm going to call out my Pekin or George Lobo. In the past debate, he refused to concede. He left, and that was unfortunate on his part. He's my Pekin. I love him. I respect him, and I'm sure he does. But for him to not have, you know, respected the process by congratulating the winner, but just left because things did not go away. As a young man who is preaching democracy, I think that was unfortunate on his part. And as his big brother, I want to call him out publicly because after the show, he went on his platform and called our focus on Liberia publicly and referred to us as not being professional. And so we thought to do the same. Martin, the victory is yours. Congratulations, your 1 minute victory speech.
You know, I actually like the protocol of focus on Liberia. You guys are really professional, and thanks so much. Neutral, independent, impartial, and I appreciate the level of professionalism you have infused in your platform. I just want to appreciate everybody monitoring this platform. Those who voted, those who didn't vote, you know, people who aren't even monitoring. I appreciate all of you. It is about Liberia, like MacCullay said. We see things differently. We are from different angles. We have different interests. But above all, the interest of Liberia is supreme. And thanks to MacCullay, you know, for putting up a fight, even though it wasn't a strong fight, but it's a fight, though. These are interesting intellectual fights. And quite frankly, MacCullay is a smart guy. You know, he's a smart guy based in the U.S. You know, and I appreciate him for that. You know, but Mr. Sierra, I just want to say, if MacCullay wants us to go to the health sector, the education sector, if he wants us to go to the energy sector, the security sector, rule of law sector, public administration sector, any sector, I'm available at any time. I will give him another time. I will give him another chance to prove his juice. But for the victory, Mr. Sierra, I want to say this victory doesn't belong to me. You know, it doesn't belong to me. It belongs to the people we advocate for every day. It belongs to the people we advocate for every day. Our people in slum communities. It belongs to the people in shanty towns, ghettos, rural hamlets. Those are the people that inspire me, Mr. C, to do what I'm doing. Those are the people that inspire me to have led the July 26th protest in Liberia. Those are the people that provoke me to have led the Bring Back Our Money protest in Liberia. Those are the people that provoke me to have led the Red Light protest. The first protest that ever took place under President George Manning, I led our protest in Red Light. Group of students and marketers had to join us to call on the president to speak about the declining situation of the economy. You know, so it is the appalling condition of our people in country that continues to provoke me to do what I'm doing and doing it even more. You know, so I just want to salute their resilience. The Liberian people are a group of resilient, patriotic people who continue to strive, sword, and as well succeed in various areas of life. Let us say to all of them, stay safe. My only appeal to all Liberians listening in and out of country, please stay home to stay safe. Stay home to stay safe. Please, we want to appeal to all Liberians in country. Follow those basic health protocols and measures, including social distancing. These are tragic and troubling times. We are confronted with a global pandemic called COVID-19, coronavirus disease. All we need to do, we need to work along with the government to ensure that we keep back against this killer disease. As well, I want to encourage the government, because President Weah announced a state of emergency beginning tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. I want to encourage President Weah to at least provide some basic incentive packages. Because our people are a group of hustlers. You know, our people are unemployed. A lot of them are poor. How do they survive when there is a state of emergency? The government needs to do something like all other governments are doing. So I just want to make a passionate appeal to the government through the executive and the legislature to provide some level of stimulus packages for our people back home. Thank you very much.
All right. Again, that the score we have given was that the fact that Martin was projected. People continue to vote. When I announced the score, those who voted were about, the number was 150%. 150% have voted at that time, but right now we have 202% have voted, and so the number has changed drastically. Right now we have Martin at 58.4% and Mr. Wleh at 41.6%. Again, people continue to vote, but at the end of the show, I will stop the voting and then I will post the result on our page, and I will share the result also with you, the debaters or participants.
Running into vote,
It seems to be seditions are running into vote.
We know that the public relations part will not
MacCullay sees seditions to vote now.
A lot of MacCullay sent something like SOS, gentlemen, you gotta go ahead.
Because from where 77% to
But hey, Martin, in every election, you are far above 50%, so that is good. Gentlemen, thank you. Thank you, those of you that are watching. This is how we'll close the debate, and bye-bye. All right, gentlemen, it's over. Thank you.
We are Liberia. Liberia is our home. Liberia people. Liberia all we want. Liberia, oh. Liberia all we want. Liberia. Oh, Liberia, oh, yeah. Our